Hey Psych2Goers, here we are with another brand new video. Let's begin. Does motivation feel like your nemesis lately? Is your drive to achieve your goals and objectives weakening as time goes by? Believe it or not, this happens to everyone. You might experience this when feeling stuck and unable to move forward in life. You might still experience this even when you're steadily moving towards your goals. Motivation is affected by a huge number of factors, with each person's motivation depending on different ones. However, there are some common habits that can easily kill your motivation. Before we proceed, please remember this video is for information purposes only and should not be used for any self-diagnosis. With that said, here are 6 habits that are killing your motivation. Number 1, you try to jump straight into your final goal while skipping the process. How often do you envision yourself already reaching your goals and succeeding? Do you skimp on necessary steps in an attempt to fast track? Skipping through the process might make you even more frustrated because you still don't seem to be getting the desired results. And of course, not having a proper foundation for what you want to be is the perfect recipe for failure. You might start feeling as if your goal is completely out of reach and start to lose faith in yourself. Covering the fundamentals sure helps prepare you for the journey ahead. When you have the ground covered, you're equipped with the knowledge of what to expect and when, shaping a roadmap for the journey. Number 2, you desire to be perfect. Are you someone who has always tried to do things perfectly? Why should I do it if it's not gonna be perfect? Or why should I waste my time and effort on something I won't be satisfied with? Are these beginning to sound like the motto of your life? Pursuing perfection can be one of the quickest ways to kill your motivation. Your pursuit of perfection can make you not want to do anything at all. Expecting the first attempt to be perfect and falling short can be demotivating. Starting with a rough draft and improving on it until it reaches a point where you are satisfied will surely move you closer to your goal. Number 3, you compare yourself with others. How easily do you compare yourself with others when doing something? Does the grass seem greener on the other side? Comparing your success with others can sidetrack you and make you lose your motivation. You think about all the steps and effort that you have to make to reach your goals, while others seem to have achieved it with lesser effort. This can foster feelings of discontent and resentment. So you end up focusing on these emotions and losing sight of what truly matters. Treating someone as your mentor because they've succeeded in reaching a goal that you would like to reach is very helpful, as long as you don't lose track of yourself and your own ambitions. After all of your attention should be focused on building your own success. Number 4, you get distracted and procrastinate. How often do you stop what you're doing to scroll through social media? In an era where distractions can be found literally anywhere you look, losing motivation and getting sidetracked has never been easier. You constantly feel like you get distracted and start procrastinating just when it matters the most. This may delay you to a point where moving forward seems impossible to you. Distractions are almost unavoidable, but a break is essential. So it's imperative to figure out when your break is more of a distraction. It will happen from time to time, and even the best of schedules can fail. Sticking to a schedule that is less rigid and has breathing space allows you to remain refreshed and is a great way to keep the distraction cravings in check. Number 5, you don't have a plan. You wanna do something, but you don't know where to start. Do you have a clear goal but have no idea how to reach it? Been there, done that, like all of us, right? Not having a plan to follow can be one of the main things killing your motivation. When all you know is the final result, but not which step to take to get to it, it blurs your vision. But not having a plan does not mean forsaking the goal. Really. Alternatively, it helps to start with small, achievable goals that you think will move you one step closer to your final goal. When you overcome these small hurdles that you set yourself, it will boost your confidence and motivation. And number 6, you neglect your health. How often do you pull all-nighters? How much priority do you put on your health? Not being in a proper health condition can easily kill your motivation. When your body does not have the energy necessary for you to do tasks, how can you then take steps towards your goals and objectives? This can be very demotivating because you feel like you have the right mindset and the right intentions, but your body can't keep up. Prioritizing your health, be it through your diet and your daily routines, will not only help with your motivation, but also improve every single area of your life. Finding the right motivation is a highly relative process. It's normal to run low on it at times. What matters is that you don't let it run dry. These points mentioned aim to show the general direction to consider when you feel you're running low on motivation. These are intended to tick off the appropriate places you should look into. There is no magic spell that works for all. Rather, it's dependent upon how these can be customized to suit your own needs. Do you think we covered all the points? What are some ways you use to refill your motivation levels? Leave a comment down below about your experiences if you'd like. Please feel free to share any thoughts you have as well. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button and share it with those out there looking to refill their motivation. Don't forget to subscribe to Psych2Go and hit the notification bell for more new videos. And as always, thanks for watching.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that and that ain't you. You're better than that.
So many motherfuckers wanna take a piece, coming equipped with some shit niggas just can't believe. I pull a trick from my sleeve, now kamikaze, I'm all over that nigga, now come identify the body. My middle finger to you hoe niggas, run up on me and I'll be forced to let it go, nigga. I ain't the one you wanna try. Why? Staying high, hit the button, watch these motherfuckers die. Who's running the streets? I say they cocaine. Cause in the dope game, niggas will die for they go broke, man. Another hustler making major cash. To the punk police, come raid your ass. Now you stretch doing fair time. And it's a bitch cause the judge gave you 8 years. You doing 6 and we know that you can't hang. You a trick, roll over, turn snitch like a bitch. Right, left, then left, right, I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in his square, so the fuse best. Right, left, then left, right, I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in his square, so the fuse best.
Find capture the rage of today's youth and bottle it. Crush the glass with my bare hands and swallow it. And spit it back in the faces of you racists and hypocrites who think the same shit but don't say shit. You Liberace's, Versace's, and you Nazis. Watch me cause you figured you got me in this hot seat. You motherfuckers wanna judge me cause you're not me. You'll never stop me, I'm top speed and you pop me. I came to save these new generations of babies from parents who failed to raise them cause they're lazy. To grow to praise me and making them go crazy. That's how I got this whole nation to embrace me.
Right, left, then left, right, I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in his square, so the fuse best. Right, left, then left, right, I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in his square, so the fuse best.
Once again, it's the darker nigga, with a sparker nigga, with the partner nigga, with the dog is bigger, under stress, doing less, we wanna get blessed to the chest, the stars from the Smith and West, best, over purple put a hurt on a nigga, dub 6 motherfucker feet of dirt on a nigga, my hands stay dirty, cause I play dirty the my way, you don't know, fucking find out the hard way, the nigga job is never done, I handle my business how it come, and it's never been a one-on-one, there hasn't been a problem, I dissolve them like salt, lock it up like a ball, whenever records caught, and it's my fault. I keep niggas on point, fucking down. Niggas like you need to get bust, you fucking clown. I extort to support my peeps and hold down the fort. Never get caught if I creep, nigga.
Right, left, then left, right, I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in his square, so the fuse best. Right, left, then left, right, I seen him set a word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in his square, so the fuse best. They got a nigga in the dice game. I'm feeling lucky, but the nigga's just a little bigger. You tryna fuck me, I'm my cash, I'm a blast, nigga. You don't know, I gotta tell you like the last nigga. Gotta go, no need to run for the truck, I get him up. Left to right, my uppercut, I hit him up. I'm known to walk the streets or any block. I love my niggas, but I ain't putting down my Glock. The gunshots bang when I lose, nigga. And ooh, nigga, I'ma show you not to ever play a true nigga. the square circle to see who's
Trying
best.
to capture the rage of today's youth and bottle it. Crush the glass with my bare hands and swallow it. And spit it back in the faces of you racists and hypocrites who think the same shit but don't say shit. You Liberace's, Versace's, and you Nazis. Watch me cause you figured you got me in this hot seat. You motherfuckers wanna judge me cause you're not me. You'll never stop me, I'm top speed and you pop me. I came to save these new generations of babies from parents who failed to raise them cause they're lazy. To grow to praise me, I'm making them go crazy. That's how I got this whole nation to embrace me.
Right, left, then left, right, I seen him stutter word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in the square circle to see who's best. Right, left, then left, right, I seen him stutter word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in the square circle to see who's best.
Once again, it's the darker nigga, with a sparker nigga, with the partner nigga, with the dog is bigger, under stress, doing less, we wanna get blessed to the chest, the stars from the Smith and West, best of a purple point of hurt on a nigga, dump 6 motherfucking feet of dirt on a nigga, my hands stay dirty, cause I play dirty the mob way, you don't know, fucking find out the hard way, the nigga job is never done, I handle my business how it come, and it's never been a one-on-one, there hasn't been a problem, I dissolve them like salt, lock it up like a ball, whenever records caught, and it's my fault. I keep niggas on point, fucking down. Niggas like you need to get bust, you fucking clown. I extort to support my peeps and hold down the fort. Never get caught if I creep, nigga.
Right, left, then left, right, I seen him stutter word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in the square circle to see who's best. Right, left, then left, right, I seen him stutter word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in the square circle to see who's best. They got a nigga in the dice game. I'm feeling lucky, but the nigga's just a little bigger. You tryna fuck me? I'm my cash, I'm a blast, nigga. You don't know, I gotta tell you like the last nigga. Gotta go, don't need to run for the truck, I get him up. Left to right, my uppercut, I hit him up. I'm known to walk the streets on any block. I love my niggas, but I ain't putting down my Glock. The gunshots bang when I lose, nigga. And ooh, nigga, I'ma show you not to ever play a true nigga. Lay it down just to prove it. And fuck the rapping motherfucker, we can do this. Right, left, then left, right, I seen him stutter word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in the square circle to see who's best. Right, left, then left, right, I seen him stutter word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God, like his heart filled with stress. Throwing blows in the square circle to see who's best. Right, left, then left, right, I seen him stutter word. He didn't duck and got stuck with your uppercut. I put my hand up to God.
What is up guys, Karma Medic here and welcome back to another dose. If you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Nasser and I'm now a third year medical student studying at King's College London, and in this video I want to tell you guys how to stop procrastinating in college. Now as a medical student I spend a pretty decent amount of my time studying, and so it's crucial for me to know how to stop procrastinating, get started with work and finish what I need to get done. Let me tell you guys the 5 best tips I can think of how to stop procrastinating. Now the first thing that I do is I give myself rewards. This is actually my favorite tip of all time and is probably the reason why I can work so hard and get so much done. I always give myself rewards when studying. Personally, I study in 4-hour blocks and I always start with something to drink. It's usually coffee, but it could also be tea or a juice or even just water. So I tell myself, okay Nasser, enjoy this beverage while you're studying, and at the 1-hour mark you can go to the kitchen and get yourself a snack. And I'll usually get myself some apples, a bowl of grapes, candy, whatever it is. And you best believe that during that first hour of studying, if I'm ever feeling a little bit demotivated or I need a little bit of a push, I'm thinking about the snack that I'm gonna get as my 1-hour reward. I probably sound crazy right now, but trust me, you have to try this. After 2 hours of studying, I usually make myself some more coffee, and after 3 hours of studying, I take a 5 to 10 minute phone break. This way I'm continuously giving myself something that I can look forward to, something that has an end goal where I'm going to do something that isn't directly looking at this page and trying to study. Giving yourself these little rewards, no matter how small they are, really helps push you and keep you going until the next one, and then eventually you're done with your long session of studying. The second thing that I do is I break down big tasks into smaller chunks. Sometimes when you've got a lot of studying to do ahead of you, for example, you have to write a really big paper or you have a big exam that you're studying for, it can be really intimidating to think that you have to do all of that in one go. If you break down the task into smaller pieces, for example, today I'm going to write 500 words of my essay, or I'm going to go through lectures 1 to 5 for my upcoming exam, it becomes so much more manageable. It gives you a realistic goal that you can work towards and that you can actually complete in the foreseeable future. That way, when you complete it, you feel good about yourself, you cross it off your list, and you move on to the next chunk of the bigger task. That feeling of completing a goal that you've set for yourself, even if it's a small one, is really motivating and it'll help you keep on studying. I'd love to hear from you guys in a comment down below about the tips and tricks that you use to stop procrastinating. The third thing that I do, and this one is really important, it's that I set timers for all of my breaks. If you're working on something for hours on end, it's only natural that you're going to feel like you need a 5 or 10 minute break every now and again. 5 minutes. And that's the difficult part. It's actually sticking to a 5-minute or 10-minute break on your phone and not just endlessly scrolling through Instagram for half an hour. If you want to take a break to make some tea, watch a YouTube video, or just browse through your social media, that's totally fine, but just don't forget to set a timer. And then as soon as that timer rings, close your video, lock your phone, and just hide it. I don't care where you hide it. You can put it behind your laptop, you can put it in another room, you can give it to your friend and tell them not to give it back to you until you're done with your session. Just put your phone out of your sight. If you can't see your phone, it won't be on your mind as much, and it's as simple as that. The fourth tip is about time management and making plans. The very first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I plan. And usually even before I go to sleep, I'll have a pretty good idea of what it is that I'm going to do the next day. I sit down and think about exactly how many hours in my day I need to sit down and study, how many hours I can dedicate to chilling, doing chores, administrative tasks, whatever it is. And this way I have a good idea of all the different tasks that I need to do and how they're going to come together. A very important part of this is to be realistic with yourself and not underestimate how long a task is going to take you. Any task that I need to do in my life, I always overestimate the amount of time that I think it's going to take. And the reason that I do that is because if I finish early, well then great, I've just earned some extra time in my day. And if I finish on time, then I've finished on time and I haven't pushed back the rest of my schedule because I underestimated how long it would take me to begin with, and now everything else is going to fall behind. There's no point in telling yourself that the essay you need to do is only going to take you 2 hours when it's probably going to take you around 4. Just overestimate the time that you think you'll need and you'll be fine. My fifth and final tip for this video is to make sure that you actually do things you enjoy in your evenings and your nights off. There's no point in pushing yourself to study for 12 hours a day for 5 days and doing nothing that's fun at all, because then you're going to burn out and you're not going to be able to study for the weeks to come up until your exam or your big paper. You have to actually chill, de-stress, and let your mind and body relax before you wake up in the morning and start studying all over again. Play some video games, watch your favorite TV show, go out with your friends, do whatever it is that makes you happy. Because trust me, keeping a balance between your chilling and your studies is how you're going to be able to study for long periods of time. So yeah, balancing your life is key. And alright guys, I think that's where I'm going to end this video. Don't forget to leave a like on it, and if you're new, subscribe to the channel to see more content from me in the future. What is up guys, Karma Medic here, and welcome back to another dose. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, hi, my name is Nasser and I'm now a third-year medical student studying at King's College London. You can also follow me over on my Instagram page for more daily updates about my life at medical school. But for now, let's jump straight into the topic of this video, which is what my study strategy is at medical school and how I can consistently score well. Now, throughout my academic life, I've managed to be not stressed or not worried for I'd say about 95% of the exams and tests that I've taken. And I've also managed to score well on something like 95% of the tests that I've taken. And that's not because I'm a genius or I'm really smart, and it's also not because I lock myself in my room and study for hours on end. It's because I study smart and efficiently, and I think the mentality that I have around studying and exams and succeeding is a little bit different than most people. So today what I want to share with you guys are some of the studying strategies that I use to be able to score well so consistently over the 4 years of my undergraduate degree. Alright, so let's start by talking about my mentality when it comes to exams and assignments and tests. Whether I have a final worth 40% or a midterm worth 20%, I will still work as hard as I possibly can to succeed in both of them. There's no point in me thinking, oh, this quiz is only worth 2%, or oh, this assignment is only worth 10%, let me not work as hard on it, and I'll have to make up for that extra loss when it comes to other parts of the course module. Another point about the mentality when it comes to exams. Exams are hard. Exams take a lot of time to study for, and it can be stressful. But the truth is, after I've spent a couple of weeks preparing for an exam, I know that I've studied my best. I've put in the hours and I've put in the effort. If a bunch of questions come up that I've never seen the material for before, that's life. And if I don't do so well, that's okay. I've already done everything that I can in my power to put myself in the best position to do well. If I don't end up doing well, that doesn't mean that it wasn't worth it, all the work that I put in, and that doesn't mean that I didn't make the right decisions when I was studying. That mentality of knowing that you're doing what you can, you're putting in the effort, you're putting in the work, is what helps me de-stress and not worry about upcoming exams. So when we have an exam at the end of the year or at the end of a semester, we'll usually have somewhere between 1 to 3 weeks off from school in order to study. During that time, of course, I study very, very hard and I do a lot of work. However, in reality, I've actually been working towards studying for this exam from the very beginning of that school year, and that's because I take my notes every single day. Whether that's for lectures, tutorials, workshops, whatever it is, every day I put in a small amount of work. So for example, today I have 5 lectures scheduled, and that means by either today or tomorrow, I will have written all of my notes for those 5 lectures. So when it comes exam time in December, all I have to do is read them, learn them, memorize them, and I don't have to start from scratch writing those notes or learning that material because I already did it a couple of months ago in September. I will have already seen all of the material that's going to be tested at least once. So when you're reading it again, it's almost like a second read through. It's like you're building on the foundation of knowledge that you already have. Secondly, around exam time in those 1 to 3 weeks that we have off in order to prepare for exams, I really do put in the work. Of course, I still maintain a balanced life by going to the gym, doing exercise, seeing my friends, etc. But here the priority is studying for my exams. And during this period, I always study for the exact same number of hours, and I always study with the exact same routine. I set myself a goal of 8 hours of studying in a day. I wake up at 7, I'm at the library, and I start studying at 9. I study from 9 till 1, take a 2-hour lunch break and chill break from 1 till 3, study again from 3 till 7. Now following that timetable, I've already studied for 8 hours in the day and it's only 7 p.m. And that's honestly already very good. If you can keep up 8 hours of studying a day for 1 to 3 weeks, you're going to be able to cover a lot of material. At 7 p.m. I can either take off the rest of the day, make sure that I can relax, enjoy myself, and maintain a balanced life so that I can continue studying for 8 hours a day for the coming weeks. Or if I'm still in the studying mood and I feel like I can do more, I'll take a 1-hour break from 7 till 8 and then study from 8 till 9 or 8 till 10 depending on how I'm feeling or how close I am to the exam or how much material there is left, etc. So this structure that I have, this consistency that I have when it comes to studying for exams is something that's very, very beneficial. It's almost like a guaranteed fact of life that I know around exam time, this is the routine that I'm going to have and this is how much studying I'm going to do. And that really makes it simple for me. It takes out all of the stress about having to plan when I'm going to study, having to plan my revision timetable, etc. I know that it's always going to be the same and that's just how it's going to be. And before we move on to the next tip, I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare, of course, is the online learning community with thousands of classes covering lots of different entrepreneurial and creative skills. The premium membership gives you unlimited access so you can find the perfect community and classes for you. I've personally used Skillshare in order to improve my editing techniques for videos like this and also teach me more about the YouTube algorithm, search engine optimization, and everything like that. Whether you want to learn a new skill or you want to explore your own creativity, Skillshare is the perfect place to continue learning. Skillshare is also extremely affordable with their annual subscription being less than $10 a month. It's a service that I personally use, a service that I've actually found useful in improving my skill set. And because Skillshare is sponsoring this video, you guys can get a 2-month free trial by clicking on the links in the description down below, and you can learn more about Skillshare over there. Anyways, on to the next tip. Now let's talk about studying smart and studying efficiently for a second. On any given test, and I believe this is especially true if you're studying medicine, 80% of the marks that you're going to get are going to come from about 20% of the material that you have to study. These are the topics that come up over and over and over again, and that's because they're the ones that are most important because you're going to see them most commonly when you're working as a doctor, etc. I make it my goal to cover all of the material that could come up on a test, but by far most importantly, and especially if you're crunched for time, high yield material is where you have to focus. Okay, now let's move on to talking about time management. You heard before that I have that very strict studying schedule, so obviously my time management skills are quite good. And something that really helps me stick to this schedule and something that really helps me be okay with the amount of hours that I put in studying is very strongly differentiating my work time from my studying time. When it comes time to studying, between those hours of 9 to 1 and 3 to 7, I am only studying. I put my phone behind my laptop so that it's not even in my field of view. I don't open Facebook, I don't open YouTube. I just sit down, I lock in, and I focus on my work. Now, outside of those times, I can do whatever I want. If I want to binge Netflix shows on my bed, if I want to go for a run or go to the gym, if I want to go play video games with my friends or play video games on my PlayStation 4 here, I can do that. I make sure that I'm doing something that I actually enjoy. I don't think about work for a second. I try and relax. I enjoy myself, because if I have so much fun during those times, when it comes time to study, it's fine. I've already chilled. I've already had fun. I've already binged 4 shows of the latest Netflix series. I don't feel the need to do that because I just did that. Now it's time to study. So that's sort of the relationship that I have with my work, and that's how I separate my work from my chill or my fun time. Also hugely important to me is stress relief. Luckily, I think I'm a person that's able to sort of put different things in boxes. You know, if I'm working, but I'm also really stressed about some other life thing that I have to do, I can sort of put that in a box and put it in a side, focus on my work for the next 2-3 hours, whatever it is I need to do, and then I can worry about those other stressors. So that sort of compartmentalization, or pushing things aside, putting things in boxes, is something that if you can train yourself to do, I think would be very, very valuable, because it allows you to focus on the task at hand and deal with other things later when you allocate time to them. Also, speaking about stress, you know, naturally you're going to get stressed at university. There are going to be times when you have lots of different things to do and you're going to feel overwhelmed. For me, whenever that happens, I just take a step back, write everything down on a piece of paper, allocate specific dates and times for when they're going to get done, and that makes me feel good because I know that they're going to be finished and done with at a certain period of time. But inevitably, and especially at medical school, there's always this sort of underlying baseline level of stress. So what I find very, very good for that, besides obviously chilling with friends and going out and having fun, is just the gym or physical exercise. Going for a run or going to the gym is something that I couldn't replace with anything else. So if you can do some sort of physical exercise, whatever that is, I would highly, highly recommend that. Now, after having taken all these things that I just talked about into account, when it comes to exams, when it comes to preparing for exams, I honestly can say that I feel almost zero stress. I know that I've either already put in the work or I'm going to put in the work to put myself in a position where I have the best chance of succeeding. If I don't succeed, that happens sometimes, and you know, you reflect on what happened, what went wrong, and how you can change it in the future. And if you do succeed, you can think about what went well and what you're going to keep doing when moving forward. These are all the reassurances that I could possibly give myself, that I know that I'm going to work hard, that I know I'm going to do my best, and that's all that I need to clear my conscience and not feel stressed about upcoming tests or exams. And finally, on an important note, studying is equally as important as enjoying yourself, going out, relaxing, chilling with friends, doing exercise, whatever it is that makes you happy. I think that balance is really the major key that helps me not be stressed before exams, tests, or assignments. And with that, I think I'm gonna sign off this video here. Thank you so much for watching. Please do leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and also subscribe to my channel to see more videos from me in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Sometime around the year 2007, I came across a book titled Failing Forward. This book was written by John C. Maxwell, and it contains several stories of individuals who are the most successful people in the world. Reading this book, I discovered something most people don't understand about life and success, which is the most successful people in the world are the ones who have failed most. While an average person on the street believes that people who succeed simply had some luck, the truth is that failures, massive failures, are almost always the road that leads to success. And why is that so? Robert Greene said, "Repeated failure will toughen your spirit and show you with absolute clarity how things must be done." Repeated failures make people tough and strong because these people who embrace failures become stronger and tougher. they become more successful than others. It's that simple. When you try new things and make mistakes, you'll become stronger. When you attempt something big and fail, you'll become smarter. When you dare life and fall, you'll become tougher. Because failures and mistakes teach us incredible lessons we can never learn any other way. People who attempt more things even though they get more failures also achieve what other people cannot achieve. Repeated failure will toughen your spirit and show you with absolute clarity how things must be done. Roland Hussey Macy Sr. was born on August 30, 1822. At the age of 15, Macy worked on the whaling ship Emily Morgan and had a red star tattooed on either his hand or his forearm. R.H. Macy and his brother Charles started a dry goods store in Marysville, California, shortly after the city was founded at the height of the gold rush in 1850. Unfortunately, the store failed. Charles stayed in Marysville after the store failed, but Roland headed east. Between 1843 and 1855, Macy opened 4 retail dry goods stores, including the original Macy's store in downtown Haverhill, Massachusetts, established in 1851 to serve the mill industry employees of the area. All of these 4 stores failed, but he learned from his mistakes. Macy moved to New York City in 1858 and established a new store named R.H. Macy Dry Goods at 6th Avenue on the corner of 14th Street, significantly north of other dry goods stores of the time. On the company's first day of business on October 28, 1858, sales totaled $11.08, equal to $326.82 today. As the business grew, Macy Dry Goods expanded into neighboring buildings, opening up more and more departments, and used publicity devices such as a store Santa Claus, themed exhibits, and illuminated window displays to draw in customers. It offered a money-back guarantee, although it only accepted cash into the 1950s. The store also produced its made-to-measure clothing for both men and women, assembled in an on-site factory. After 7 painful failures, R.H. Macy eventually succeeded in building a business. What if he had never tried? What if he had given up after 3 failures? Repeated failures will toughen your spirit and show you with absolute clarity how things must be done. People who succeed in life are the tough-minded ones. Success requires that you're strong and tough, and that's why failure is inevitable, because nothing in human experience makes us strong as failures. Nothing can make you tough as failures, and that's why running away from mistakes and failure is the surest way to achieve nothing in life. Repeated failure will toughen your spirit and show you with absolute clarity how things must be done. Robert Greene was born on May 14, 1959. As a young boy, Robert had always known that he wanted to be a writer, but he didn't know what to write about. He tried novels, essays, and plays. Right after university, he gave journalism a try, but one day, his boss told him that he was a poor writer, so he stopped pursuing a career in journalism, and that started his wandering in life. Robert traveled across Europe. He did all the odd jobs he can get his hands on: construction work in Greece, teaching English in Barcelona, hotel receptionist in Paris, and a tour guide in Dublin. Robert Greene wrote several novels that were never finished and dozens of essays that were thrown in the trash and plays that never got a green light. At age 36, Robert Greene had done 50-odd jobs, all making his life seem useless. But he was becoming stronger and tougher with each failure, until when he met Just Elfers, a packager and book producer in Italy. They were walking along the quays of Venice when Just asked him for an idea. The idea of power came rushing into him at that moment when Just asked him. As if all those years of wandering, reading, and writing culminated in that one moment, Robert discussed the power dynamics that he's seen in his jobs, the same thing happening in the history books he's reading. He wanted to explore those ideas and tie them all together. That was the birth of his most famous work, The 48 Laws of Power. Today, Robert Greene is considered one of the most successful writers in the world. But guess what? The only thing that made him a success is failure. Multiple failures. If Robert had not been through 50-odd jobs, several rejections, and painful failures as he tried to become a writer, he wouldn't have ever had the raw material needed to write 48 Laws of Power. Repeated failure will toughen your spirit and show you with absolute clarity how things must be done. Listen to me, young people. The worst thing you can do for your destiny is to play it safe in life. I know you want to be successful, I know you want to own a business, get all the money you need, and have a great life. But I also know that none of these things you desire will come to you as easily as you want them. They are all on the other side of failures. So you will do well with your life to try, dare, and attempt new things. And when you make mistakes or fail in your journey of life, don't look for who to blame. Don't point the finger or expect a messiah from any of the politicians ruling your country. Repeated failure will toughen your spirit and show you with absolute clarity how things must be done. In the part of the world where I live, which is Nigeria, so many people believe that because they go to church they shouldn't have problems in life. To make matters worse, these people are being deceived by many fake preachers who tell them that the children of God ought not to fail in life. The result of this deception is that when people in my country start a business and fail, they automatically believe it's the work of the devil. Most times when these people fail 2 or 3 times, they stop trying altogether because they believe they ought not to fail. While I would love to live in a world where I could achieve my dreams without any headaches, after studying the lives and biographies of hundreds of people who have become successful in life, one thing I see that unites these people is that they all fail. They failed a lot before they figured out how to succeed. Because I know this truth from history, I decided not to expect what I want out of life, but to accept the reality of life. I know what you want. You want a good life, and you want it easily. You wish you could get all you want as fast as you want it, with little effort. Unfortunately, you won't ever have success until you endure failures. Repeated failure will toughen your spirit and show you with absolute clarity how things must be done. Mistakes are painful, but they are not your enemy. Failures are bitter, but they are working for your good. Mistakes and failures make you stronger and tougher. The stronger and tougher you become, the closer you are to succeed. It's that simple. The surest way to fail in life is to run away from failures. The surest way to succeed is to embrace failures. I love you. My name is Steve Courage from Lagos, Nigeria.
Welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be talking to you guys about 5 self-help books that I feel that are absolutely essential. Well, not essential, but amazing to be a part of your journey, especially if you're trying to get to a higher place within yourself. A lot of times, the world that we live in, a lot of times people are walking around with a mask on, and they're not really living in their truth. So they appear as if they are doing fine, everything's going well for them, but on the inner layers, when you peel back the layers, you would see that that person is actually going through so much inside, so much internal battles, and it's unhealthy for that person. It's unhealthy for their environment to be trying to thrive in that type of space. So I highly recommend and always say that you should always try to build up yourself within, so that that can essentially come out without you even having to try, without you even having to beat yourself up to try to appear a certain way. Because at the same time of trying to appear a certain way, that is exhausting for that person. No matter how much they try to appear perfect, appear like they're doing it, they're getting it done, they have all these achievements, nothing feels like an achievement when you are not at whole within yourself. Everything just feels as if it's just added on, you know, baggage, because after one achievement, you're going to keep on feeling as though you need to reach the next. And I feel that a lot of times that also drills you onto a road of comparing yourself to others. So most of the time when you're not fulfilled within yourself, or you don't feel as if you are having any type of self-work inside of yourself, you start to look for it within other people, or you start to look for it outside of yourself. So I feel as though the best thing that you can do is, if you cannot actually go to a therapist, or if you cannot actually go to someone to help you heal, you can actually do that yourself. And I say this because God has given us the power to empower ourselves. If no one else is going to do it, then why not you try to do it yourself? Also, even if you don't believe in God, there's always someone securing you. The first step to self-healing always starts with following your intuition. So your inner self is going to tell you the first step to healing. Your inner self may say, like, you may wake up one day and say, oh my gosh, I need to exercise more. Well, that is a step to healing yourself, because being healthier and exercising and just getting all that energy out, getting all those thoughts and suppressed emotions out through exercise is a way of healing yourself. So if you wake up one day and your body's like, you need to eat better, you need to exercise, that's your intuition turning you in a way to saying, this is what your body needs. We are with you every single day. We know what's going on within you. We need this. Or you may have a instinct to go to the bookstore, like something like that. That is called self-healing. When you actually listen to your intuition and listen to the subtle nudges that you get. So I'm sharing this with you guys because a long time ago, I had a inner nudge to go to the bookstore, and I told this story before on my channel. I picked up so many books at the bookstore, and these books have been with me my entire journey, so for years, and I am going to share some more books with you. This time I'm going to mix in some of the journals that I have as well. So if you are wanting to heal yourself, these books are absolutely amazing. So this first book I wanted to mention is called Whispers of Rest by Bonnie Gray. I mentioned this in one of my vlogs. A lot of you probably didn't see my vlogs because there's like only a certain amount of my followers that watch my vlogs. Someone seen that I recommended this video, and they came to me in my DMs and let me know that they love the book. They have recommended, I think she said that her and her friends have like a book club, and everyone in the book club is pretty much reading the book as of now, and it has helped them so much. So when it comes to this book, Whispers of Rest, it basically tells you each day you have, I think it's 40 days of God's love to revitalizing your soul. So each day it tells you it gives you like little prompts to do. It tells you little scenarios on how you can pretty much renew your soul, because a lot of time our soul is taking on so much mess, and if you feel as though your actual physical body gets dirty and needs a shower every now and then, why wouldn't your spirit need the same thing? At the end of each prompt, there's a prayer for you to say, and it basically talks about how to heal yourself and little notes that God may have for you for that day. Now, I know this sounds super religious, like the book may sound super religious, but I like the way this book paints the image of God, because it paints the image of God as a love figure rather than just like the way that religion paints God. So you don't have to like, even if you're not into certain things, you do not have to look at this book that way, because this book actually gives like self-care tips and things like that. So it really is a good book. So I mentioned that some of the books that I was going to be talking about were kind of like journals. So this is definitely a journal that I've had for years. This is called the 5-Minute Journal. And the 5-Minute Journal is very unique to me, because I originally got this book thinking that it would be a lot more in-depth. The 5-Minute Journal is not in-depth at all. You literally put a couple of things that you're grateful for, a couple of things that you a couple of things that you would like to do to make today great, and then you put 2 daily affirmations, and that's it. So at first I was like, oh my gosh, why aren't there more prompts? Why isn't this journal more in-depth? But then as I thought about it, when you first wake up in the morning, because that's when you're supposed to write in the 5-Minute Journal, you're really not wanting to do a whole page of things that you're grateful for. And you're just, most of the time people are just waking up and they're not wanting to do all that. We'll say that I like to meditate better because the 5-Minute Journal, I kind of run out of stuff, which I should not, because I have so much stuff in my life to be grateful for. But this sometimes takes a lot of thinking. But it also lets you know where is your mind when you first wake up in the morning. Because if you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I can't find anything to be grateful for, then you know that you have a lot of work to do when it comes to being grateful. It has helped a lot for me. And just the small things can be like very big. Like the other day I wrote that I was grateful for all the opportunities that come my way and that are continuously coming my way. And at first I was just like, first I didn't even think about that. I was just like, oh well, that's just my job. Like a lot of opportunities come my way. But then I thought about it and like, no, there's some people who do what I do, or there's some people who are not doing what I do who don't have that. So that is something to be grateful for. So the things that you feel that are super small and normal to you is someone else's wish, and you should be grateful for that. So this journal really does help with that. I really do love just like having that refresher of this book, just trying to tell you that there's not a lot that you have to put, but there are things in your life that you should be grateful for, because like I said, your normal everyday living is someone else's wishes. So this book is going to continue to pop up on my book list, because I really want you guys to eventually get this. So if you do get any of these books, tag me on Instagram, like in your story or in your post, because I love to see like if you guys actually went and picked up any of these books. So this one is the 10 messages your angels want you to know. This is like the book that I highly recommend on this list, because it's so, like, I put it in my last video. I told you guys that this was this is a really good book. Like, this author, Doreen Bircher, really went in and talks about all areas of life and did it in a way to where everybody can understand it, no matter where you are on your journey. And this will 1000% help you to heal yourself, because you're going to read the 10 messages your angels want you to know, and you're going to realize that a lot of things that we feel as though is like an issue is really just God's like lessons to you, so that you can go like farther on your journey. So when it comes to this book is one that you can read one time and then go back another time and find more things. So this is a depth book, and this is a book that you will want to go back to at different times in your journey. So the last time I read this book, so that was back in like 2017, and then in 2020, this year, I picked up this book again and started to read it, and I've seen it through a different perspective. Why? Because I am not the same person I was in 2017. So now in 2020, when I read this book, I see it completely different. So that's another thing. This book is like going to follow you on your journey. So each time you're going to look at this book differently, and you will know if you're growing on your self-healing journey, because your perspective is going to change. So this is another journal. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so this is called Practice You. So it's a journal that you will write in. So, and remember how I told you that the 5-minute journal was super simple, not as in-depth? Well, this Practice You journal is more in-depth. It has you to go back to your childhood, and it actually focuses on the chakras. So if you're not familiar, your energy points in the middle. I'm not going to go into it in this video, but those of you who know, there are certain chakras that have different like meanings to them. So if you're a person who cannot be grounded for the life of you, it has a whole section on how to trust and be grounded. So you actually will write down like your thoughts, and it asks you what is trust to you, what is faith to you. There's some things in here that ask you to write a prayer. So it says, this is my prayer for a clear vision and insight. So you will put a prayer right there on this page for what you wish to have as a clear vision. So I wish that my vision was more clear when it came to my career, and I wish that I had more insight on which steps to take. So that will be your prayer, and you'll put it right there. And then on the next page, it tells you to write a letter to like the 9-year-old you or the 21-year-old you. Like, what would you tell that 21-year-old girl now that you're like 28, or however old you are? Just use that as an example. So would you tell that 21-year-old girl, like back when you're 21, if you were like always worried about a job, but now at 28 you're super successful, would you tell that 21-year-old, like, don't worry, your job's gonna come at age 23 and you're gonna be at this place at this time? So for me, at age 21, I found the love of my life. So I wrote not at 21, but at 20, I found the love of my life. And so I wrote a letter when it said to write a letter to your 21-year-old self. I wrote a letter to my 21-year-old self telling her that, even at 21, I had just, I was still early in my relationship because I met my boyfriend when I was actually 20. I was telling my 21-year-old self to, don't worry, this man is going to be amazing for you and going to be a perfect match. So it was just fun to go back and kind of tell her it's me, I'm her. To tell my 21-year-old self how I was going to meet my boyfriend, and where we were going to go and vacations that we were going to go on and stuff like that as future me. So this book is created by a yoga instructor, and it says on the back, you are invited to come home to yourself, to your radiant, your ritual, your courage, your clarity, your power, your purpose, your strength, your softness, your adaptability, your acceptance, your endurance, your excellence. So pretty much draws you back into yourself and helps you to reflect on what it is you're doing currently in life, and also where do you want to be in a few more years. So like I said, highly recommend this one. Okay, so this last book I want to recommend to you guys is called Healing with the Angels, and this is by the author Doreen Virtue. I have a lot of her books. So in this book, these are pretty much just prayers and stories of how the angels have helped people. So it kind of goes into different areas of the life and also gives you prayers for each area. So let me see which page I can stop on. So it also talks about law of attraction in this book as well. It has in here changing relationships in the spiritual path. So there's sometimes where you go through life and your relationships are going to change, and sometimes you're going to feel very down about that. So it talks about reasons why you may be experiencing that and why we experience change in our life, because only thing that's constant is change, and it's the most important thing. So change is evolution. You have to change in your life. Okay guys, so my camera cut off, it's going dead, but I want to thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. All these books will be linked down in the description box for you, and thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it and if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to stay positive during this time, and also just to stay positive in your life in general. I'll see you guys in my next video.
The great Michael Jordan said, I failed over and over. My failures are the exact reason why I succeed. So never run from your failures. Take that failure and let it be the fuel that drives you. See, failure is simply a detour. It's not a dead-end street. I implore you, I beg you, to be able to accept your failures. And that's because we all fail at something. But I need you in the depths of your soul to never be okay and never accept not trying again. Get up! Your failures do not mean that you're not worthy. Your failures do not mean that you can't succeed. Your failures do not mean that you can't come back and win. Your failures do not mean that you can't achieve at a high level. The only problem, the only issue is if you fail, you quit. Is if you fail, you give up. I need you to live up to every expectation, every goal, every dream that you had as that little kid. Give every ounce of your being. Every failure is a lesson. If you're not willing to fail, then you're not ready to succeed. I beg and plead, I need you to believe dreams. I need you to believe in success. I need you to understand that one way to achieve everything that you've ever wanted in your life is the highway of failure. You will fail over and over and over and over and over again. But that means one day you will climb the mountain and reach the mountaintop. Success awaits. But you gotta go through your go groove to get to your get to. Every ounce of your heart, every ounce of your soul. Yeah, your feelings are gonna be hurt sometimes. Yeah, you're gonna feel a little let down sometimes. Yeah, the pain. Yeah, it's gonna suck. But I need you to suck it up and pick yourself up out of bootstraps and go one more time, and go two more times, and go three more times. You will build up so much fuel. You will build up so much power. You will build up so much energy. Don't tell me you want it. When at the first sign of defeat, when at the first sign of failure, you're willing to stop. It's like you got a car, but you have absolutely no drive. Let the failures fuel you. Let the setbacks fuel you. This is a great day to win.
Do you have the courage to act outwardly on what you see inwardly? Or will you die a dreamer? Will you die on the verge and on the edge and in the land of coulda, woulda, and shoulda? Do you have the courage? I'm going to drop something on you. It takes courage to be successful. It is far easier not to be successful. Misery will always have company. Success breeds contempt. If you don't want to make waves, be mediocre. Be normal and fit in. And if you're more concerned about people than you are God, then neutralize everything He put in you. Just fit in with everybody else. Dress like them, walk like them, act like them, eat like them, go where they go, think like they think, do what they do. And once you've neutralized your uniqueness, you don't need courage. It takes courage to be different. It takes courage to go where you've never gone before. For some of you, it took courage to come to this conference. It takes courage to get you outside of the bar. It takes courage to be successful. It takes courage to win. People don't talk about people that don't win. If you win, they're going to talk about you. Do you have the courage to stand there though the storms keep raging and the people get to talking and you stand there and say, I've come too far to turn around? Do you have the courage? I'm going to say something to you. It takes courage to be exceptional. It takes courage to be wise. It takes courage to be rich. It takes courage to be educated. It takes courage to be knowledgeable. Because the moment you do, but you don't talk like, oh, you forgot where you came from. Look at you talking. It takes courage. And I'm just wondering, in this weak, watered down, mediocre society that we live in today, in this reality TV world we live in today, I'm wondering if there's anybody left that's got the courage to say, after all I've been through, and all my ancestors have been through, and all my parents have been through, I didn't come through all of that just to fit in with normalcy. I have the courage to go after my dream. Is there a woman left in this entire Coliseum that's got some courage?
If excellence were the tallest building in your city, and you ripped it apart piece by piece, until only the core existed, only that foundation, what you would see is courage. Because courage is the thing that gives you a platform to build on. Every starting block is comprised of unknowns. Every endeavor, every journey, every time you start something new, you're by definition a rookie. You're at the bottom of some pecking order. And I want you to never be fearful of these situations, but to be thankful for them. They're the roots that allow the tree to grow, and the only thing required for you to move forward is having the courage to say yes. Life is opportunity. The world around you is opportunity. Some people close their eyes and ignore it. Others choose to see it. Courage is never closing your eyes. Everything around you is courage. That building you're walking by, someone had the courage to start that construction company. The music you're listening to, someone had the courage to put their art out there into the world, to embrace the critics, the naysayers, the envious. They didn't stop. And now their creativity is flowing out of your headphones and into your life. Courage is the understanding that simple and easy are very different words. It is incredibly simple to work harder than the person next to you. It is simple to make sacrifices, to move out of your comfort zone. You don't need to understand Einstein's theory of relativity to be able to do those things. Oh, but side note, they're insanely difficult. At first, they will kill you inside. You'll be nervous, scared, self-conscious. Courage is the understanding that fear becomes progress, that being nervous transforms into excitement, and that what once ate away at you will become the fire that reshapes your life.
Sometimes it's not what other people say about you. Sometimes it's not even what God says about you. It's what you believe about what God says about you. Because God could tell you all day long that you're called. He could tell you all day long that you're purposed. He could tell you all day long that he wants to use you. But until you believe that, that is the time that you start. And the thing is, the enemy is after our belief. He's after our courage in what God said. Isn't that what he did with Eve? Did God truly say? He wants to get you to doubt, to disbelieve, to have unbelief in the area that God has called you. So here's what the Lord had me do some years ago. He had me to go back to that time in my mind and take back my courage. Take back my call. Take back my anointing. Take back my purpose.
Decide, commit, act, succeed, repeat.
If you want to be an impactful personality, you have to develop certain types of thinking and perceptions that change the way you see yourself and see the world.
No matter what you want to do in life, no matter what your ambition is, that your dreams can come true if you persevere, if you work hard, and if you realize that what you might think is impossible is possible in today's world.
Well, you have to keep yourself focused on whatever your ultimate goal is. There's stumbling blocks all the way. People get laid off, you have a bad game, you get traded from a team that you don't want to be with. But if your goal and your focus remains the same, that hey, this is going to happen, and I know I have the skills and I have the knowledge and have the instincts to dig myself out of this hole, you will dig yourself out of the hole. You have to control the situation. Don't let the situation control you.
Your life is what you think it should be. That's exactly what you are right now. You are what you thought you should be. And if you don't like who you are, you got to change what you think you should be. What you think is more important than what you do. And so if you want to change, you got to work on this attitude bit.
When you take on a massive change, whether it's trying to diet after a lifetime of being overweight, or maybe running your first race after a lifetime of never ever exercising, or maybe it's starting to date again after you lost your spouse to cancer, when you confront something that's going to require you to change your behavior, you basically come face to face with the gap between who you are right now and the future person you want to be.
So you need to foster the belief in what you are dreaming so that it becomes a reality, which is very different than saying, I don't expect anybody to believe it until I see it. You need people to believe it before they can see it.
Here is how you can assure yourself to enjoy yourself during the process of whatever it is you're trying to achieve. I want you to get this, because it starts as soon as you open up your eyes in the morning, or whenever it is that you start the day. As soon as you open up your eyes to greet the day, you enter into consciousness. It is at that moment that your creativity is at its most powerful. Right there and then, you have an opportunity to steer your thoughts and your emotions in the direction that you want them to go, not in the direction that they're telling you to go. In other words, you can literally choose to seize the day, or you can let the day seize you.
Nothing works the first time. When you try something new, it probably won't work.
Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
Every time you lose at something, you're one step closer to winning the next time. The difference between successful people and not successful people, let's call it that way, are people give up. People wake up every morning, they have doubt, they have fear, they lose in a Ferrari race or they lose in a race, and then they just give up. The hardest thing in life to learn is to lose. Winning's easy. You win, you're happy, you get a high five, your friends are happy. It's your ability to take a loss, get up the next day, dust yourself off, and keep going.
This isn't about playing basketball like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. There's guys in the NBA that never gonna play basketball like them. This is about being able to think like a champion, know what goes on in their heads, understand how you can relate it to your business and whatever you do to take yourself to the next level. Remember, the mind controls the body does not control the mind. What makes these guys special and successful in everything they do is not their physical gifts, it's their mental toughness. They have the ability not to think when everyone else is thinking. So what I want you to do, as soon as you open up your eyes to start the day, is to immediately start focusing on something or someone that you are totally grateful for in your life. I don't care what it is or who it is, but I want you to feel it with your heart and soul. Your only goal as soon as you open up your eyes should be to make yourself feel good and to give yourself enough confidence to get through the day. Don't worry about what needs to be done. Think about who you have to be in order to get it done.
I believe the emotions that many of us consider negative, like frustration and rejection and pain, can be our greatest friends because they can drive us to success. You know what? I think one of the things that happens for a lot of people when they get successful is they get superstitious. It's like they work so hard for the success and they now finally have it, so all of a sudden they don't change, they don't vary their behavior, they kind of like want to stay the way things are. They get incredibly conservative and they miss out on the juice of life. Stay out of the trap. Listen, when people succeed, they tend to party. When they fail, they tend to ponder. Now, the pondering, many times we create our greatest successes in life. Just remember, it's impossible to fail. If you try something and it doesn't work, just try something else and learn something from what you just did. As long as you learn something, you've succeeded. Start with something small if you want, and then build. But right now, write down 2 decisions you've made, and then take action on them immediately. I mean, right now. I mean, even before I finish talking here, stop the tape, pick up the phone, and make that call you've been waiting for. Do not put it off another minute. I don't care what it takes. There's power in momentum. I'm a big believer that once you set a goal, once you make a decision, you should immediately, in that moment, do something to start making progress towards it. That way you can't cop out later on or get caught up or lose your momentum. So please do it now. And I know not all things can be done right now, so maybe it's something you have to do tomorrow morning. But whatever you're gonna do, make the decision and then commit to follow through and then check in tomorrow. Because this is the first step to grabbing your personal power.
Remember this. So you got to get out there. You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures.
My energy is for the people that want to get somewhere. I am real. I'm doing this for the right reason because I care. I don't give a damn about fame. I don't give a damn about money. I don't work with anybody that doesn't have the right attitude, and that right attitude is willing to give everything because I give everything. I give everything. If you can't give everything, then go find yourself someone else. This is not for me. Nothing else is wrong with you, but you're just tired. That's it.
Tired is only in the mind. You tell yourself you're tired, you're gonna be tired.
Let's go!
I don't get tired.
I'm gonna show you how great I am. My name is Sunesh Singh, but also known as Coach Suns. I'm from Durban in South Africa. I got asked this question, like, what do you want to do? I want to be the boss of the world in SNC.
We the best.
Well, I'm just out here going to do me. And I don't do things differently, like I say, because I want to be different. It's just because I can. I don't need a damn blue tick to say, yeah, we verify you. I freaking verify myself every day when I wake up, like, you're the best. Keep chasing that dream. Keep, I can't emphasize how much you should believe in yourself and not worry about what others think. One of my athletes put it perfectly. You have to face yourself so you can learn how to be yourself. If I can conquer myself, I can conquer anyone. Because you can be the most talented person, the most talented individual and athlete. But when you meet someone that's got talent and put a little bit of hard work in that, you're getting well knocked off the podium. So don't fear hard work. And I think it's not fearing the hard work. People fear failure. But failure is where all the lessons are. It tells you everything about yourself. Are you cut out for this sport? Are you cut out for this hard work? Are you mentally ready for it? Failure gives you everything.
I have to make y'all remember, and I have to remind the world why we the best.
It doesn't matter how fast you go forward, as long as you're moving forward, there's progress. Progress can come that big or that big, but just understand that sometimes it'll be slow, sometimes it'll be fast, sometimes it goes back, but that's life. My job is to ensure you achieve greatness.
I always say, you show me your crowd, I'll show you your future.
I'm a real person, and I genuinely care about everyone I work with. So I think that's easy to see when you work with me, that I genuinely care, and I couldn't give two damn hoots about all the lights and stuff. Like, at the end of the day, I always say I'm the background guy. I'm in the back, pulling the curtains. You the one in the spotlight. You the one that gets all the boom, the confettis and stuff. That's you. I don't need it. My job, I understand my job. I don't care about being in the front. My job is to ensure you achieve greatness. If you achieve greatness, I achieve greatness. And I always say, what I do is temporary. Who I am is permanent. So if I'm gonna be a fake little shit, that's gonna end off being who I am. But I'm not that, I'm real. What I do, an SNC coach, that's temporary. So if I feel who I am, be true to who I am, what my parents taught me, my temporary is gonna flourish. Because I could see the bigger picture. I could see where I'm going, and of course I wanna help my family. I don't want my father and mother to work. So yeah, it's just, that's an emotional bit, but yeah. Why my parents drive me, and my father and mother, I can't separate both of them because they both did so much for us. I guess they've always found a way. And as a kid, you watch that and you're like, at that time you don't know what's going on, but they found a way to make a tomorrow. Whereas now you get, people just want to stop at the first hurdle, and they're growing up, like I said, through the battles and the hard times, and more of the hard times financially. Like, My father comes from a very poor family, mother as well. It was almost more like for me going, man, I wanna be something big. One, in whatever I'm doing, and I chose it. I chose sport performance and sports science, S&C coach. But I wanna do it so big that my father can go and my parents can go, oh, that's my son on TV. Oh, just to see them like proud, I'm like, man, I'm doing it, you know? My father says, you represent your friends represent you. So, you see, my athletes are my friends. And I always tell people this, if we can't be friends, we can't work together. Because that's my life. And that's how I've made it. My family, my friends, you know, people I work with and my friends, I'll hang out with my athletes. I'm not a trainer, I'm a coach. And as a coach, I need to be able to pick up the phone at 2 a.m. if you phone me. I'm having a bad time. That's a coach. If you want to be a trainer and take me through, work out 10 exercises and finish, go, good. That's you, and like, no disrespect to you. But I chose to be a coach. And I understand what I set the standards of a coach should be. If you set your standards here, that's cool. That is totally cool, and I don't disrespect any trainer, any coach if their standards are here. But for me as an individual, I'm setting standards very high. I want to give my athletes the best they can. If I die tomorrow, what are you going to remember me for? Are you going to remember me for, I don't know, was he fake? Hell no. Was he real 100%? Did he turn up and give us everything he did? Did I drive an hour 30 from my house just to speak to you for 15 minutes and drive back? 100% I did that. I want you to know that I cared about every single thing that we do.
When the lights are out, my heart is your home. When the stars are crashing, your heart is my own. And it goes on and on and on. Love goes on and on and on. Oh yeah, oh my darling, would you take me away? Take me When the lights are out, my heart is your home. When the stars are crashing, your heart is my own. And it goes on and on and on. Love goes on and on and on. Oh yeah, oh my darling, would you take me away? Take me away.
For it isn't your father, your mother, or wife whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is that man staring back in the glass. He's the fellow to please, never mind all. Fool the whole world down your pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass. But the final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated that man in the glass.
It was the year 2000. I just got into what we call senior secondary class in my country, Nigeria. On this very day, I was having a conversation with two of my friends, and at some point we were talking about who would become the best student in our class. I announced to my friends that I will become the best student in our new class, and both disagreed with me. I left that meeting with the first major goal of my life, to become the best student in my class. Because of this new goal, I had to lie to my parents to give me money. I got some money and used it to buy different books. Because of this new goal, I reduced the time I wasted on TV and other things. Because of this new goal, I would wake up about an hour earlier than everyone in my home and use that period to read before I went to school. As God would have it, I ended up becoming the best student in my class, and that got me to see practically how powerful goal setting could be. That was more than 20 years ago. Until today, I set goals for myself every time. For most people who don't set goals, well, it's very difficult to hit a target you can't see. Just as you can see in my above story, goals make you focus. Goals challenge you to run after something. Goals remind you of where you're going so you don't waste your time with the people who don't go your way. Now, let me share with you a few goals you might need to set in the new year. 1. Set goals to read and think. Warren Buffett said, "I do more reading and thinking and make less impulsive decisions than most people in business." Bill Gates reads about 50 books per year. Mark Cuban reads about 3 hours every day. And when asked how he learned to build rockets, Elon Musk said, "I read books." Henry Ford said, "Thinking is the hardest work there is," which is probably the reason why so few engage in it. If there are two things that can change almost anyone's life, they are reading and thinking. Reading expands our minds and gives us new insight into how we can either do what we're doing better or how we can do something entirely different. Unfortunately, most people don't read. Last week, I came across a study that claimed that 80% of American families don't buy any book the previous year to the time the study was conducted. In the part of the world where I come from, you hardly see anyone reading except they have a school examination. While people who don't read can achieve some level of success, you can be sure that knowledge is a multiplier. If you can drive your car at 20 kilometers per hour in the darkness, you can sure drive at 60 kilometers per hour if you have a light. So, set a simple goal to read more in the next 12 months. You can start with a single book per month. Don't read any book more than 10 pages if you don't enjoy it. If you pick up a book and don't like it after reading 10 pages, drop it and pick another one. This is important because you don't want your brain to feel like reading is a difficult thing. By choosing to read only books that you enjoy, your brain will associate reading with pleasure, which will help you read more. 2. Set goals to invest 300 hours into something. One of my goals for the next 12 months is to be a better communicator. To achieve this goal, I've read Dale Carnegie's popular book, The Art of Public Speaking, and as a further study, I'm paying attention to other great communicators online. I would listen to them, try to decode what they are doing deep in their brains, observe their pauses, change of tones, and their gestures. Another thing I have set to do is to speak to the camera often. I want to do this via some YouTube channels. I think about one important skill you've been wanting to acquire. Now is the right time to give it a go. And the best way to get started is to set a goal to invest at least 300 hours in the next 12 months into becoming better at such skill. This means investing about 50 minutes every day into becoming better at a skill. This can mean watching a video, reading a book, or listening to someone who already does so well in what you're trying to do. This will also mean doing, getting your hands dirty, and practicing. The whole idea about investing 300 hours into becoming better in a skill is that if you can identify a particular skill that will make a difference in your career, then your life can change if you would focus on becoming better in such an area. 3. Set a goal to be thankful for many little things. There is a book called Happiness Advantage. Sean Achor wrote it. This book proves that happy people tend to achieve more successes in life than people who are not usually happy. The reason for this is because human brains perform better when we're happy. I read somewhere that our brains perform about 31% better when we're happy than when we're sad. And that should not be a surprise, right? So, here's the deal. People aren't happy necessarily because of what happened to them, but because of how they interpret what happens to them. This means that we can all be happier than we are right now if we look for things we can be grateful for. While many people believe that if they can achieve more success, they will be happier, the reverse is actually the case. If you can be happier, you'll achieve more success, and how to be happier is to be more grateful for things you already have. Tony Robbins has a morning ritual which is about stating 3 things he's grateful for. Most of us can see 3 things we're grateful for, and this simple exercise can make our brain better. Set goals to read and think more. Set goals to invest 300 hours into valuable skills. Set goals to be happier by being more grateful for what you already have. None of the above goals will be easy, but disciplining yourself to follow them through can make a better life. I hope this video helps someone. My name is Steve Courage. I'm a Nigerian entrepreneur based in Lagos. If you wish to know more about me, see my face, or consume videos I specifically make for Africans, check the description box and join my new channel, where I show my face and teach Africans how to build successful businesses. I love you. Not everyone who is a millionaire was born with a silver spoon. Studies show that 86% of millionaires attested to the fact that they made their wealth. They didn't inherit it. Also, current projections are that 1,700 new US millionaires are made every day. So, you may ask, what is the common reason behind the success of these self-made millionaires? In this video, I will share with you the 5 most overlooked habits self-made millionaires share. 1. Lifelong learners. Your brain is your greatest asset, and it ought to be polished as often as possible. Many individuals believe that education starts and ends at school, but the truth is that self-education cannot be overemphasized. So, keep expanding your knowledge. Attaining financial success in the first place requires plenty of education. The individual in question does not only need to learn their trade, but also follow industry leaders and keep themselves up to date on relevant news. Although people barely count education as one of the bases of self-made millionaires' success, it is paramount. Self-made millionaires invest money and time in various forms of learning, such as coaching, online courses, physical meetups, and conferences. Also, according to Tom Corley, 85% of self-made millionaires read at least 2 books each month. Not only do these men and women read, but their choice of reading material is also strategic. They read biographies of successful people, personal and money growth books, and books about how the world works. Self-made millionaires take time to study the trends, concepts, and financial news each day to become an expert in their field and stay up to date on what's current. They know that their relevance in their areas is mostly dependent on their continuous learning and adaptation. Little wonder why Albert Einstein said, "When you stop learning, you start dying." 2. They are foresighted action takers. Even though everyone dreams, only a few individuals take further steps to turn those dreams into realities. Self-made millionaires take actionable steps towards the life they want. Self-made millionaires do not just set goals, they set realistic goals. They know what they want in their future selves, state the purposes, and work towards achieving the things they desire. They look for any way practically possible to turn their visions into realities. Come to think of it, even if everyone can think of it, a goal to earn $100,000 this year seems daunting until you realize it is only a matter of making $8,300 each month, $1,922 each week, $273 each day, 10 clients who each spend $10,000, 20 clients who each contribute $5,000, or 50 clients who each pay $2,000. Those bite-sized chunks are much easier to swallow than the entire $100,000 pie, so there is a higher degree of motivation. Financial planner Scott D. Hedgecock once said, "In my experience, the biggest difference between those on the right path, those on the wrong path, is the amount of time and effort they put into devising a plan for their finances." But creating a plan is one thing. Taking out time and effort to see it through is the only thing all financially successful people carry out. 3. They invest wisely. Self-made millionaires didn't become wealthy by only making and saving money. They became millionaires by strategically investing their money. After all, Acquiring income from multiple income streams is another self-made millionaire habit that will never lead to wealth without the discipline to invest and watch the money grow. By investing in especially income-generating ideas and investment products, you slowly but inevitably become financially independent over time. Self-made millionaires safeguard their future with an emergency fund. They live outside the constant worry of financial failure and save, invest, and eliminate unnecessary debt. Although many people have heard of George Clayton's key to business success, he stated in his book, The Richest Man in Babylon, "Pay yourself first," not everyone understands what that statement truly means. People assume that the term "pay yourself first" means taking out a portion of your income to save or spend on your wants as a form of reward. However, what Clayton means by "pay yourself first" is that you take out a portion, preferably 10% of your income, before you spend on your needs and other things. The 10% is not supposed to be for wants, but as a form of investment into other profitable ventures. Self-made millionaires practice and understand this. 4. Prioritize self-care. Self-made millionaires know how important it is to stop, rest, and recharge. No, they don't go on vacations or therapy just because they have the money to do so. Self-made millionaires, know that for them to make more money, they continuously need to fuel their most precious assets, their mind and body. Not only can rest make you physically healthy and fit, but it also helps to restore your inner focus, increase your creativity, and diminish the risk of burnout. Inasmuch as they enjoy working, self-made millionaires know that the speedy, ever-efficient, and out-based work has only one consequence: burnout. So they take time to take a break from their busy schedules. Then, self-care isn't just important, your preservation, which extends to your financial freedom, depends on it. Health professionals typically recommend the average adult should get as many as 7 hours of sleep every night. If we're honest though, most of us don't. Self-care allows you to take responsibility for your physical, emotional, psychological, and social needs. In today's hurried modern society, slowing down is not attractive for many professionals, and that is why these self-made millionaires go on trips and long breaks. Eating good food, getting quality sleep, prioritizing exercise, and keeping to the doctor's appointment are some of the ways through which self-made millionaires preserve their health. 5. Focus on value creation. In the heart of every self-made millionaire lies the question, what unique insights or skills do I bring to the table that other people do not? In what way can I better the living condition of others? According to Canadian-American motivational public speaker and self-development author, all wealth comes from adding value, from producing more, better, cheaper, faster, and easier than someone else. To become rich, you must add value. If you have a unique skill set or intelligence of a particular subject, you possess the capabilities to disrupt the existing industries. While the multitude of people do not make use of their skill sets, self-made millionaires use their abilities to cause significant changes. To make money, you must alter the current paradigm and help or positively impact the lives of a large number of people. There are billions of people in the world, and only a tiny fraction is self-made millionaires. These are the people who have created phenomenally successful businesses and changed the world in significant ways. The assumption that many people have about the rich is incorrect. Self-made millionaires place value creation above profit making. When they create products and services, they put in their best because they understand that great value and strategy automatically equals enormous profit. The world doesn't throw $1 billion at a person because the person wants it or works so hard they feel they deserve it. The world does not care what you want or deserve. The universe gives you money in exchange for something it perceives to be of equal or higher value, something that transforms an aspect of the culture, reworks a familiar story, or introduces a new one, alters the way people think about the category, and makes use of it in daily life. Self-made millionaires are not made by an event or chance. They are made by a process which is constituted by several habits and practices. Unfortunately, when people look at the rich, they tend to overlook these habits.
Thank you all so very much for all of your support. Now, let's continue. When you think of the people you love, who comes to mind first? Is it your family members, your best friend, or a significant other? What about you? Self-love is important. It's important for leading a happy, healthy life. Unfortunately, the concept of self-love is often overlooked and misunderstood. In a world that grows more demanding, stressful, and complex day by day, self-love might be something you're struggling with. So let's talk about 8 things you need to know about self-love. Number 1, self-love is not a linear process. The process of loving yourself will have ups and downs. On this journey, you will probably have days where you feel great, energized, and positive, but also know that there will be days where you don't, and that's more than okay. Even when you consciously practice self-love, you may sometimes feel grumpy, tired, anxious, sad, lonely, or defeated. On those days, remember that you're human, in the process of growing, and allowed to feel the full range of emotions on any given day. Life is hard, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with taking the bad with the good. Part of loving yourself is feeling and expressing these emotions without criticizing yourself. Self-love is a complex process, full of leaps forward and steps back. Each day that you choose to keep going and choose to love yourself, you're making amazing progress, even if you don't feel like it. Number 2, we are conditioned by society to believe that self-love is selfish. How many times have you stepped back from a commitment and instantly felt guilty? How often do you say no to someone and feel self-absorbed? Feeling this way is normal and totally understandable because society has led us to believe that prioritizing our own needs is selfish. But this is not true. Despite everything that society has told you, taking care of your own needs is one of the most important things you can do. Your health and happiness are yours to protect and maintain. Taking the steps to do so is never selfish. Number 3, self-love is not a rapid process. Think of the people you love most. Did it take some time to love them firmly and completely? When you begin to learn how to love yourself, it may take some time for you to feel it. Understand though that similar to loving other people, loving yourself is a process and a journey. It may not and probably won't happen overnight, and that's okay. Do you tend to dwell on your flaws? We want to remind you that your flaws are what make you unique. They're part of what makes you the wonderful human that you are. Number 4, self-love is important because it opens even more doors for you to give and receive love. Have you ever heard the phrase or versions of it where they say, love yourself first? It's true. The way you love yourself shows others how to love you. According to licensed marriage and family therapist John Kim from Psychology Today, forming a healthy relationship with yourself that is full of care, understanding, compassion, and healthy boundaries will help you achieve that kind of relationship with yourself and others. Number 5, uncovering the sources of healing can be difficult. Are you in the process of emotionally healing? If so, you should be proud that you're taking the steps to heal, for it isn't easy. Like self-love, healing not only takes time, but is also very complex. Unraveling possible years of buried trauma is daunting. If you become overwhelmed during this process, know that you aren't alone. Digging deep and healing from past wounds or reoccurring ones can be an overwhelming process. Part of self-love and practicing self-care is knowing when to step back in the healing process. Though it may be very tempting to keep pushing, remember that part of loving yourself is acknowledging your own boundaries. This is especially important in healing in order to avoid uncovering memories and moments in ways that may wound you further. Number 6, self-love means giving permission to accept your own compassion. Have you ever noticed the negative connotation that surrounds self-compassion? Perhaps disguised as making excuses or feeling sorry for yourself. The truth is that one of the greatest sources of strength is being able to have kindness and compassion for your own experiences in life. We have this unfortunate quality to automatically blame ourselves when things go wrong. If you didn't get a job or get into your college pick, you tend to believe that you aren't qualified enough. If a friend is mad at you, you tend to blame yourself first, rather than objectively examining the situation. This could lead to lower self-esteem, more negative self-talk, and even self-loathing if it goes unchecked. Self-compassion is something that lives inside of you. Rather than suppressing it for the sake of others, the more you consciously accept the understanding and kindness you want to offer yourself, the more your self-esteem and confidence will grow. Number 7, self-love means following the yearnings of your own heart, even if that's not what others want. Have you ever felt obligated to do something because you were being pressured by others? To take up a certain hobby or go down a certain career path that you didn't want? While this complacency might seem to resolve differences and issues in the short term, it can leave you unfulfilled later on. Part of loving yourself is giving yourself the right to follow your own dreams and your own heart, no matter what others have to say. Those who judge you or impose their dreams on you also have their own chances to take. Your personal passions are strong and beautiful. They're unique to you. That which makes your heart sing is yours to cling to. You deserve to feel happy and fulfilled, no matter what others have to say. And number 8, self-love isn't always fun. Sometimes self-love is hard. It's doing what's best for you, even if it doesn't necessarily excite you at the moment. Self-love can be going to bed early when you know tomorrow is an important day, choosing to stay in so you can finish an assignment, or saying no to a loved one so you can have time for rest. You have sat down and are respecting your own boundaries, and that is a great thing. Sometimes, in order to love yourself, you have to prioritize what is best for you and make sacrifices. The sheer ability to do this confirms just how much you have your best interest at heart. What are your thoughts on self-love, and how do you practice it? Let us know in the comments below. Please like and share this video if it helped you, and you think it could help someone else too. The studies and references used are listed in the description below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell icon for more Psych2Go videos. Thank you. Hey Psych2Go fam, welcome back to another video. Before we start, we would like to thank you all for the support that you've given us. Psych2Go's mission is to make psychology and mental health more accessible to everyone, and you help us do that. So thank you. Now, back to the video. Have you ever felt as if you're making no progress in becoming the best version of yourself possible? The road to self-improvement can be daunting and seemingly never-ending. Making yourself better is a slow and sometimes frustrating and uncomfortable journey. Whether it happens naturally over time as you get more mature, or you make a conscious effort to improve, the results can be subtle, and this may make you feel as if all your efforts are going to waste. To help you feel more encouraged, here are 8 signs that you are becoming a better person. Number 1, you're self-aware. Do you know what you want? Answering the big questions in life, like what your purpose is and what kind of person you want to be, can take a lot of thought and maturity. As hard as these questions are to answer, figuring out your character, feelings, motives, and desires is key to gaining a deeper understanding of yourself. This self-awareness means you are able to recognize and reflect on your past actions to find ways to improve. Number 2, you're conscious of your effect on other people. Like understanding yourself, understanding how you affect the world around you is a huge part of being the best version of yourself. You have the power to affect other people, which is great. But as Uncle Ben from Spider-Man said, with great power comes great responsibility. Understanding how much you can either help or hurt people means you have to make the active choice to be polite, tell the truth, and try to control your reactions to things that may upset you. Number 3, you accept your shortcomings and mistakes. Do you feel like there's a lot of pressure to be flawless? From seeing gorgeous actors on screen all day to hearing about everyone else's greatest achievements, you may feel like you're not good enough. But it's important to realize that you're not an impeccable character in a book, nor is your life like a K-drama. Letting go of ridiculously high standards and ideals for yourself is good for your mental well-being and a huge sign of maturity. Number 4, you're okay with being vulnerable around others. Are you afraid to open up to people? Or are you okay with letting others know how you feel? A part of becoming a more mature person is realizing that it's okay to be vulnerable and that it doesn't make you weak or inferior. Whether it be a fear of getting judged or a fear of showing weakness to others, being vulnerable can be mortifying. However, suppressing your feelings and refusing to ask for help can become very unhealthy for your mental well-being in the long run. Number 5, you find the actual causes of your problems. Do you have a tendency to avoid your problems? While it's easier to distract yourself from why you're upset or frustrated, it doesn't really solve the problem. Finding the root of your problem and facing it head on can actually help you learn and grow in the long run. It may take time and some getting used to, but figuring out the whys and hows of a problem instead of just trying to fix its symptoms is a sign that you're becoming a better person. Number 6, you're more selective with the people you spend time with. Did you go out of your way to make friends with the popular and cool kids at school when you were younger? As you mature, your taste in friends may change. You might find that you want closer friendships with people who are more understanding, conversational, and supportive. Wanting people who support you and who are truly good for you means that you're becoming more mature and thinking about your own needs more. Number 7, you make your own decisions. Do you always ask others what to do? When you're making a big decision, it can be easy to get swept up into what others want and expect. Of course, it's okay to take advice from other people, but it's also important to stay strong and true to what you want and believe in as well. Being a better person means learning to trust yourself and the decisions you make. Number 8, you ask more questions. Have you become more curious lately? Getting to know more about the world around you is a great way to learn about different people, places, and more. Instead of following the crowd, you may start to question the things you don't understand or want to know more about. This is not only a sign of you becoming a better and more engaged person, but it can also help you become more versed and knowledgeable about the world. Do you relate to any of these signs mentioned here? Are you trying to become a better person? Do you have trouble getting out of bed? Do you groan at the thought of all the things you need to accomplish during your day? Everyone has experienced a lack of motivation before, whether it's your job, your schoolwork, or even your chores. It can be a frustrating and stressful feeling, knowing that there are things that need to be taken care of, but for some reason, you can't get yourself up to do. You might think it's related to the task or because you just don't have the time, but there are actually many more reasons that may be contributing to your lack of motivation. So keep watching for 8 reasons why you feel unmotivated. Number 1, you're working for the wrong reasons. Have you ever asked yourself why you're doing the things that you're doing? Is it because it's something that your parents want? Or perhaps you feel pressured by society to have and do what everyone else is doing? As common as these reasons are, the best way to stay motivated is if you're working for something you truly want. If it's for the sake of someone else or because you're conforming to the norm, you're more likely to lose interest and get discouraged and unmotivated. Number 2, you don't think you have control over your life. What do you do when things go wrong? It can be tempting to blame other people. After all, who wants to admit fault? However, while other factors do affect you, you are the one who controls your life. If you constantly blame poor results on things like other people, luck, or the environment, you might start to think that what you do doesn't matter. This can make it easier to lose motivation and passion. However, if you admit your fault and take responsibility, you're acknowledging your control over your own life. This can make it easier to stay motivated since you're directly making the changes in your life. Number 3, you think you should have accomplished more by now. Do you feel defeated when you don't see any immediate results from all the work you've done? As hard as it may be, you should try to remember that not all improvement can be seen during the process. With activities like playing an instrument, drawing, or singing, you may struggle to see yourself making any improvements at all, since there may not be such a stark difference between one day and the next. And when you don't see results, it's easy to lose the drive to keep working. But putting in the effort to try each day is already an accomplishment in itself. Take it one day at a time, and someday soon you'll look back and realize how far you've actually come. Number 4, you set unrealistic goals. What type of goals do you set for yourself? While setting goals is a great way to keep yourself focused and driven, setting the wrong type of goals can have the opposite effect. For example, you may set yourself the goal of becoming a professional chef, but have no idea how to accomplish something so big. Because of this, you may end up feeling overwhelmed, anxious, and unmotivated. So, instead, set small goals that build up to a larger one. That way you can avoid letting the bigger picture overpower all the smaller, equally important milestones. Number 5, you only focus on the possibility of failure without thinking of the rewards. Were you ever afraid to try something new? It's easy to feel unmotivated when you let your fear get the best of you. Perhaps you kept thinking of how everything could go wrong or what other people would think. While it's normal to be afraid, it's also important to remember the good things that may come out of it. Instead of thinking, what if I can't do it? You may want to try thinking of the valuable experience you can get just by trying. Number 6, your personal life is out of balance. Have you noticed that your personal life is out of balance whenever you feel unmotivated? Your personal life plays a huge factor in how you feel about the work that you do. If you've recently broken up with a significant other, lost a friend, or experienced some major change, it's likely that you'll feel unmotivated and unengaged with whatever you do. Working too much may lead to boredom, and having too much going on in your personal life may become too overwhelming. This is why balance is key. Number 7, you're spending too much time on social media. How much time do you spend on social media? As fun as it can be to scroll for hours on end, you may end up comparing yourself to others. Whether you're comparing your looks, achievements, or lifestyle to other people's, doing so may leave you feeling upset, insecure, and unmotivated with yourself. This is why it's so important to remember that social media involves snapshots of people's best moments, and to compare yourself to someone's highlights will always feel impossible. Number 8, you don't believe in yourself. Do you have faith in your own abilities? Believing in yourself can help you improve your happiness and confidence, which is not only good for your motivation, but also for your general health. As you gain more self-confidence, you may find yourself sure of your abilities and therefore more motivated to work towards your goals. The journey to believing in yourself is long and difficult for anyone, so don't be discouraged if you're not there yet. Take it one step at a time. Are you feeling unmotivated? Did you relate to any of these points we've mentioned? Feel free to share your experiences, feedback, or thoughts in the comments below.
In this video, I will share with you 13 signs that you are mentally healthy. 1. You have healthy self-esteem. Sometimes healthy self-esteem is confused with inflated esteem or narcissism, and vice versa. But while a narcissist is proud, overconfident, and never accepts his or her fault, a person with healthy self-esteem is neither falsely self-confident nor timid. Having high esteem means accurately striking a balance between the pride and arrogance of inflated esteem and the fear and inferiority complex of low self-esteem. A mentally strong individual has a healthy self-esteem. You are aware of and accept your strengths as well as your weaknesses. You have learned to self-evaluate accurately and self-validate, so that you are neither dependent on praise from others nor devastated by rejection. 2. You are self-sufficient. Self-sufficiency means having a clear and strong sense of self. When you are self-sufficient, you are not codependent or manipulative, or possessive or controlling. You know how to deal with your problems. Also, you don't fear being alone. Yet you are not afraid of people either. A self-sufficient individual has gone through life without really crying out for help, because he or she can always find a way to rescue themselves. You don't seek for people to save you. Neither do you try to rescue or fundamentally change others. You don't rely on other people to manage your emotions, nor do you act your feelings out on them. If you possess all these traits mentioned, then you are mentally strong. 3. You are emotionally intelligent. Many people assume that being mentally strong means that you have to be unemotional. To them, emotional intelligence is being able to bottle up all you feel and act like nothing is wrong. But these notions are untrue. Mental toughness doesn't require you to stop feeling or expressing your emotions. It just means that you can balance your emotions with logic. Mentally strong people understand that emotions don't negatively affect success. Instead, their emotions play a vital role in making the best decisions when mixed with a hefty dose of logic. Being emotional only stops you when you let it consume you, but acknowledging your feelings is essential for your well-being. Mentally strong people perceive every emotion as crucial, and they can coordinate their feelings and that of those around them. 4. You acknowledge your weakness. Average individuals may believe that in admitting your weakness, you are giving in to allowing them to overrule you. But mentally healthy people don't think so. Although they don't let their shortcomings stop them from trying, they also do not brush them under the carpet. Acknowledging you're bad at confronting people or that you struggle to be organized might show you're strong enough to admit your imperfections and take positive actions. While other people make excuses for the things they can't, you create ways to go around them. Either you delegate the task you cannot do or develop a plan to succeed despite them. For someone who is mentally tough, weaknesses aren't a setback. They are just challenges that need to be overcome. 5. You can bear failure. If you succeed at everything you do, it means you're living far inside your comfort zone. Making mistakes and failing means you're challenging yourself, which is a sign of mental resilience. Mentally healthy individuals do not let people convince them that their failures are proof that they are not strong enough to succeed. Instead, they view failures as an opportunity to stretch themselves as far as you can. They don't find it challenging to recognize limitations and things beyond your capabilities and accept failure as a part of life. In their book, Alan Bernstein and Peg Streep, Mastering the Art of Quitting, pointed out that quitting sometimes requires a huge leap of faith and a willingness to take on the possibility of failure, along with the emotional fallout that accompanies it. 6. You know when to walk away. Whether you are walking away from a goal because the effort it takes to get there isn't a top priority, or you're walking away from a heated dispute because you know nothing productive is going to happen, walking away does not mean you're copping out. Many people perceive walking away as a weakness, when in fact, it takes strength to step away from something that isn't working out, mostly when you have devoted a lot of resources to a task or a person. Walking away might show you're willing to act by your values, even though you might face some ridicule. It only takes a mentally healthy person to stick to their principles to the extent of walking away. In the words of an anonymous writer, sometimes walking away does not mean that you're weak, but it means that you're strong enough to let go. 7. They are able to take criticisms. How do you feel when you put in your best in something only to get negative responses from people around? Do you have yourself or the people for criticizing you? Or do you swallow all the criticism and make necessary adjustment? If you do the latter, then you are mentally strong. Mentally strong individuals do not let criticisms break them. Neither do they hold grudges against people that criticize them. As a mentally tough person, when critics criticize you, all you do is learn and move. 8. You focus on intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivations are internal motives that come from within you. A person with intrinsic motivation draws his or her inspiration to carry out tasks from within, rather than focus on external rewards like money, fame, etc. Intrinsically motivated individuals are driven from the inside to do things for their own sake, regardless of whether or not there are societal benefits. Motivation affects every aspect of your life, including being better and pushing yourself to be stronger. These set of people are oftentimes low-key philanthropists. They involve in charitable acts not because of the accolades they'll receive from the masses, but to satisfy their conscience, put a genuine smile on people's face, and also for the sake of internal fulfillment. These things in themselves are considered a reward. Mentally sound people know that real success comes from within. The rest follows afterward. 9. You can stay committed. Commitment is something mentally tough people have in abundance. They don't do anything halfway. They would instead not start a task than to do it without full dedication. Researchers Peter Clow and Doug Strycharczyk asserted that commitment is how athletes can power through pain and exhaustion to reach the finish line. Anyone who wishes to be successful in life must learn to be committed. Being commitment, because commitment is mental strength. You're mentally more substantial than usual when you commit yourself 100% to anything you choose to do. However, you are necessarily committed because you want to succeed. You know that you are bound to experience setbacks. Setbacks are severe, yes, but for you, the important takeaway in each challenge are the lessons and experiences you get from them. 10. Proactivity. Proactivity, which is the opposite of reactivity, means taking the initiative to carry out a task. Mentally strong individuals are proactive. They don't wait to be told what to do or what should be done. Instead, they take extra steps to do the right things. 11. Decision-making is fast and accurate. Mentally strong individuals are usually never found in the box of indecisiveness. They find it easy to weigh options and make the best possible decisions in the quickest of time. Their decisions are usually not influenced by what others think or solely how they feel, but it is often about what should be done. If you recognize that you are responsible for your own life, and when there is a problem you can weigh your options and make a decision, then you are mentally strong. 12. You can control your anger. Can you believe she just stood there? I would have given him a piece of my mind. Comments like that imply people who remain calm lack the courage to stand up for themselves. Being relaxed is often mistaken for weakness or stupidity. However, it is the strength for mentally strong individuals. Anger can be a very healthy and helpful emotion, but it does not mean you'll be able to behave productively every time you are upset. The level of productivity you will achieve from your angry moments depends on you. Most people cannot remain calm. They allow their anger to control them. Being able to regulate your emotions and maintain your cool amid a crisis is a hallmark of mental strength. That's not to say you won't feel angry. Anger can be a very healthy and helpful emotion, but it does not mean you will be able to behave productively even when you feel upset. 13. You show empathy. Mentally strong people have an acute sense of understanding for themselves and by extension feel empathetic towards others. Empathy doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with other people on their actions, but you understand how others feel, think, and act, and why. When you are properly in touch with your feelings, you are likely to also understand how others feel and have a lot of compassion for those who are legitimately hurting. Many of the behaviors often associated with weakness are a sign of strength. Our culture often values toughness over strength, but mental strength is not always about fighting back. Sometimes it's about being vulnerable.
I've tried a dozen fantastic productivity apps in the past year, but I only kept using 3 of them. Which are those and why do I use them? Well, let's find out. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Greg and I'm an online entrepreneur creating content that will help you become more productive and mindful. I want to show you why hustling 24/7 won't bring success and happiness. So if you want to find it out, then subscribe below and join our amazing community. Today I want to share with you my top 3 productivity apps that I recommend to every single person in 2021. I want to tell you about the advantages, disadvantages of those apps, how I use them, and at the end of the video, I'm gonna share with you one special secret trick for each of those apps. So if you're ready, let's just begin. The first app that I started using in 2020 is the Todoist. This is a free note-taking app that I've discovered on Google while browsing for the best note-taking apps in 2020. And after I used it for a couple of minutes, basically, I fell in love with it because it's super simple to use. You can organize all different tasks. You can create different projects. Then you can, of course, highlight priorities. You can track progress. and it's really an easy app to use. It's a free app, but you can also buy a premium version. One costs $3, and then for teams for up to 50 people, it costs about $5 per user. Now, I used to do this throughout the day whenever I have to create a note or create a task for later, and I just use it on my phone. I also use it on my Mac and on my PC. But generally I try to avoid using it in the morning because you know, I really try to get in my flow. I want to focus on my most important tasks of the day, and then I try to put away to do it because there are many tasks there and I really don't want to get disturbed by using it. Now, I used to do this only for private things, okay? I don't use it for business, because for business I use a different app I'm gonna tell you soon about, but I only use it for private tasks. I write down different movies I want to watch, different stuff I have to buy or I have to check. For example, for groceries I use it if I make some plans and that kind of stuff. Now, there are two things I don't like about Todoist. First of all, I have my MacBook and also have my PC, and the MacBook version, the desktop version, seems much better than the PC version. Now, why is that so? I don't know, but I just prefer the MacBook version. And the second thing is, if you only need a very simple app for creating tasks, then maybe Todoist is a bit too complicated for you. Well, it's not really hard to use, but it has a lot of features which you can obviously use if you need it. But if you don't need those features, then well, there may be other free apps available that are even more simpler to use. Now, the second app I really love using and I highly recommend is Asana. I use Asana for all my projects, for all my businesses, and I simply love it. I tried different project management tools before, including Trello, Rike, ClickUp, even Basecamp, for example, and some others, and I always got back to using Asana. Now, the cool thing about Asana is that it's free for up to 15 users. You can create different teams, you can create different projects within those teams, and you can obviously assign those tasks to different people. You can track all the progress. You can use different kind of grids. You can use columns, you can use basic system for creating tasks. Like, you can set it up, you can customize it the way you want to, and that's really cool about it. And also, the learning curve is not that steep. I think it's pretty easy to use, but it takes some time to set it up. If you have like an online business, 6-7 figure business, you can probably use just a free version of Asana. It's more than good enough. But of course, you can always upgrade it. And generally, I use Asana in the morning. So after I finish with my morning routine, I open Asana, check out my main tasks of the day, then I kind of schedule and check the priorities, and then basically I close it and I start working on the tasks of the day. Now, there are two disadvantages of using Asana. First one is it does take some time to get used to it, and you need to set it up, you need to create different teams and so on. And this takes some time. It's not too complicated at all, but yeah, it does take some time. You need to keep this in mind. And secondly, you can only assign tasks to one person. So you cannot assign one task to more than one person, which is something I don't like, because in some cases it's good to assign one particular task to two people. But yeah, that's how it is. It's not a perfect management tool, but it's a really advanced one that I really love using. By the way, guys, if you like this video, please press the like button below. Now, the third app that I really love using is Notion. I actually switched from Evernote to Notion in 2020, and actually I tried to do this twice. The first time I started using Notion, I didn't really like it. It looked a bit too complicated for me, and I really enjoyed using Evernote back then. But then I gave it another try. A friend of mine convinced me to give it another try, and actually I fell in love with it. Notion is basically a workspace. You can create projects, you can share those projects with different team members. You can create tasks, obviously assign those tasks to the right people. You can comment on different stuff, you can add in files, docs, you can connect Notion to different tools. It's basically a whole workspace in one advanced app. Now, I use Notion for private and business actually. And for private stuff, I use it for basically journaling, adding in all the know-how. If I watch an online course, when I create book summaries and that kind of stuff. This is kind of the main reason why I started using Notion. Secondly, I use it for investments, to track what's happening. I use it for anything related to my health. I use it for traveling. Well, I didn't use it that much in 2020, but I hope 2021 it's gonna be better. Yeah, let's see. Then I use it for different ideas, for quick tips and that kind of stuff. And I really love using it for personal stuff. It is much more convenient than Evernote, in my opinion. By the way, a cool thing is that Notion is free for one person. Otherwise, it costs up to $8 or $10 per user per month. But if you only use it for private stuff, you can just go with the free version. Now I also use it for business. I have all data in about branding, stories, about marketing plans are in, then everything related to social media is in Notion. Then all my YouTube scripts are in Notion. I'm actually using a system from Ali Abdal. I copied from him. Thank you, Ali, once again for sharing this with us. So yeah, it's a great system that works really good for business and private stuff, and that's really powerful. Now I create 2 separate accounts. I have one for business and one for private things, and I recommend you doing the same thing. It's just much more convenient, and you can quickly switch between those 2 accounts. Now, a couple of cons about using Notion. The first thing is it does take some time to set up. It's not that simple to set it up, especially because there's so many features available. You can use templates, you can import templates from our people, or Notion has some of its own templates. Some of them are pre-installed basically once you create a new account, and that's a good thing. It does speed up the process, but yeah, it does take some time to learn all other features that are available, and some connections are not that easy to understand. So yeah, you need to tweak it up a bit. Secondly, when I exported all notes from Evernote to Notion, all the images were lost. I don't know why this happened. I saw on the forums different people had the same problem. So if you use different kind of tool for creating notes right now, and then you want to export those or import them into Notion, be careful about doing that and check if everything is working as it should. In the beginning of this video, I told you I'm gonna share with you 3 top hacks that I recommend for each of those apps that I just mentioned. Now, my first hack for Todoist, you can actually schedule when you're on vacation. I'm not sure if anyone used this feature in 2020, but I hope people will use it in 2021. And what does this feature help you is you won't get reminders and stuff like this, and also the karma score that is calculated won't calculate those days when you're on vacation. If you care about the score, if you care about productivity, well, it's a simple hack. You can just use it. You can just press one button basically, and it's all done. So once you're back from vacation, you press this button again, and this vacation mode is off. My favorite hack for Asana is the following. If you use a board view, so you have different columns like to do, doing, done, for example, you can then create one special column for all important data. For example, for social media, what we use is we have one column called know-how, and in this column we have like a link to Google Sheets with all the plans, with all the KPIs. Then there's another link to Canva, for example, which we use for designing. Then there's another link for passwords for social media account and that kind of stuff. So basically everyone who has an access to a particular project also has access to all those important files. So this person doesn't have to go to Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever, but it just goes in Asana, see all those important files in the column. Also the different know-hows, like different processes, how we use different tools and that kind of stuff. So you can just add it into one column. Super simple, super easy for people to check it, and it saves a lot of time. And my favorite hack for Notion is the following. So you can create quick tips in Notion. For example, I have quick tips if I get stressed. Then I have quick tips if I get sick, for example. I'm just working on this one. Then, for example, I wrote down if I'm ever gonna have kids. There are some quick tips, maybe not that important in this very moment. Some of them maybe are. And you can just go in and see what to do. For example, if I get sick, there are special things I can do to boost my immune system, and I always forget about those things, so they're just in Notion and I can quickly access them with basically 2 presses. Also, quick tips if I get stressed, there's a special breathing exercise that I can do, and I know that I can get stressed now and then. I'm pretty sure you have the same issue, so you can just go in, check it out. You don't have to remember it anymore. You know where it's stored, where this info is stored, so you can just go there, check it out, use it, and you're good for the day. Thanks for watching this video, guys.
Have you ever imagined what your life would be like with more energy? What if you had less stress in your life? Think of a time when you had plenty of energy. What qualities did you notice naturally emerge for you? Were you more appreciative, more vital, and were you more kind to yourself? Was it easier to care for people or to handle situations that were challenging for you? How would you like to have more energy and experience those qualities more often? But there's so much stress in our lives, from not having enough time, too many tasks, jarring communications, and serious emergencies. Science shows that when we're stressed or overwhelmed, or life is just a little too chaotic, it can affect our physiology in immediate and debilitating ways. Our heart rhythm patterns become chaotic, and that inner chaos affects our brain function and our overall experience of life. If that inner chaos becomes our norm, we can feel burned out, experience compassion fatigue, and become more and more disengaged and drained. It can feel like we're grabbing onto the back bumper of life, being dragged along, instead of sitting up in the driver's seat, in control. Sometimes we just want to stay in bed and close the blinds. But if we can learn to notice our stress on the spot and make a meaningful intention to shift from that imbalance to more inner balance, our experience of life can shift quickly too. But if we're stuck in stress, how can we shift out of it? The HeartMath team researched that one of the most important keys is to re-experience positive or renewing emotions. By choosing to activate renewing and regenerative emotions, such as love, kindness, and compassion, we can positively affect our conversations, our relationships, and even the way we view and treat ourselves and feel about our circumstances. What are some renewing experiences you've had in your workplace? For example, how you feel while holding a patient's hand, or when you see someone heal, or when your team comes together in a harmonious way. Appreciating and focusing on these things helps us make that inner shift to a state of being that is more self-caring and renewing. Experiencing the feelings associated with heartfelt emotions can remind us why we are grateful to be alive and remind us of our purpose and the fulfillment of caring for those in need. It can give us the energy that replenishes our system to keep going and to thrive. These regenerative feelings also help us think more clearly. They produce harmonious heart rhythm patterns that send signals to the brain that facilitate our thinking, our creativity, problem solving, and situational awareness. This helps us make fewer mistakes and do our job with more ease and effectiveness, and receive more fulfillment in the process. Who wouldn't want more of that? Based on this research, HeartMath created the quick coherence technique to help anyone make the shift from drain to more resilience. In alignment with Kaiser Permanente's vision, we want to ensure that you have tools to care for yourself and thrive. Here are the 2 simple steps of the quick coherence technique that you can use anywhere. Step 1, heart-focused breathing. When you start to feel overwhelmed or upset, simply focus your attention in the area of the heart. Imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. You can inhale for 5 seconds and exhale for 5 seconds. Just find a rhythm that is comfortable for you. Step 2. While you're doing heart-focused breathing, add a positive or renewing feeling to it. Just make a sincere attempt to experience a regenerative feeling, such as appreciation or care for someone or something in your life. This may be a feeling you have for someone you love, a pet, a special place, or an accomplishment, or just a feeling of calm and ease. Just keep breathing that renewing feeling through your heart area for 30 seconds to a minute. Remember, if you can only do step 1, heart-focused breathing, that's fine. Just doing that can save you from lots of wear and tear on your body and can add more balance to your system. And if you can integrate a regenerative emotion, it helps sustain this renewing shift. It's like giving yourself an inner spa break without waiting for a vacation. Think of 2 or 3 times each day when you can practice this simple inner maneuver. Perhaps in the car before you go to work, or when you return home, before a meeting, during a unit huddle, or while washing your hands between patient visits. Committing to practice helps create a new healthy baseline in your life. As you give this gift to yourself, you bring the shift in yourself to your work, your friends, your family, and coworkers, to those you serve and beyond. A shift in you helps create a shift in everything around you. Adding heart to your life is a gift that keeps giving.
Hey Psych2Goers, welcome back to another video. Do you know what self-love is? It's more than changing your hair, getting a new wardrobe, or attempting to redefine yourself. Self-love is gaining an appreciation for yourself through the physical, emotional, and spiritual support you provide yourself with. It's not a fixed state, but can grow over time through actions that lead to maturity. Establishing self-love can be a long journey, but it's a vital step to improving your mental health and overall happiness. So here are a few tips that may help you along the way. Number 1, forgive yourself. Are you incredibly tough on yourself? Sometimes when you're struggling for perfection, you end up overlooking the fact that you're only human. Although you may tell yourself that you're just holding yourself accountable, too much self-deprecation can be harmful to your mental health. Instead, learning to forgive yourself for the mistakes you make and treating them as opportunities to grow is a step towards practicing self-love. Number 2, be mindful. Are the goals you set for yourself really what you want, or are they pushed onto you by society? Being introspective or mindful can give you a sense of clarity into who you are, how you think, and what you want. It arms you with self-knowledge that you can use to move forward. Some ways to practice mindfulness include keeping a journal, meditating, or just taking some time to self-reflect. Number 3, act on what you need. Do you know what gives you energy? What makes you happy? Perhaps you're feeling overwhelmed with needing to spend so much time with your friends or colleagues, but feel bad for wanting to step away. Choosing to go anyways may end up draining your energy and leaving you exhausted. That's why it's so important to identify the things that make you feel better versus the things that make you feel worse. Knowing what you need and acting on those needs is a form of self-love, and it can go a long way for your mental and emotional well-being. Which brings us to number 4, set boundaries. Are there certain behaviors that you're not willing to put up with? The purpose of setting boundaries is not to kick people out of your life, but rather to help you identify what is acceptable or welcomed in your life and what's not. Healthy boundaries help you filter out things that drain your energy, harm you emotionally, physically, or spiritually. A way to set boundaries is by starting with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Figure out what you need to feel loved or accepted, and then work from there. Number 5, protect yourself. What type of people do you surround yourself with? Another way to practice self-love is to protect yourself. This may mean bringing people into your life who will be supportive and who contribute to your emotional, mental, and spiritual health instead of tearing it apart. Getting rid of fake friends or anyone who takes pleasure in your misery is important for your self-esteem and self-confidence. Number 6, live intentionally. What makes your eyes light up? What inspires you? Sometimes it's easy to just follow a routine in your day-to-day life to the point where you stop giving it much thought. But it's important to live life with intention and to make choices that help you move towards your goals. For example, if you intend to live a peaceful and healthy life, you need to make choices that support that goal. That may include learning how to meditate or starting to change your diet for the better. Number 7, show up for yourself. Do you scold yourself when you don't finish everything you set out to do? There will be times where you don't accomplish everything you plan to do, but acknowledging the effort you've given and the amount you have done is important. It's easy to focus on only your faults, but showing yourself kindness and compassion, even in how you talk to yourself, can help override some of the negative mental patterns you may have and help you feel loved and supported. And number 8, practice self-care. Do you tend to ignore your needs sometimes? Taking care of your basic needs is an act of love. Even taking a few minutes out of your day to check in and provide yourself with what you need can help you feel a lot better. Whether it's soaking in a hot bath, eating something healthy, or even working out, practicing self-care can go a long way for your mental health and your happiness. Have you practiced any of these types of self-love? Let us know in the comments below.
And are you refreshed? Yes. Good. Now what?
It's a little overwhelming. I've known for years this was going to happen, and now it's here, so it's pretty cool. So, for most of my life, I've been struggling with depression, anxiety, body dysmorphia, and since coming into remembering the truths of what you bring, I realized that my struggling with those things is because of the false beliefs.
The struggle is really between me and me, isn't it?
Correct.
I go this way, my inner being goes this way. That is the struggle.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's very...
Period. The only struggle. The only struggle.
It's so real, but I also know that it's so false.
It manifests in a real way. It's real. It's real. It's not necessary, but it's real.
And the closer I come into alignment with my true self.
Or when I do.
When I do.
I can do it or not do it. I do it. I don't 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 do it. But when I do it.
Exactly.
But when I do it.
And recently, the experiences are total opposites. So I've been working a lot with ayahuasca and having these profound downloads of the purest love. It's almost overwhelming. But then I keep getting back into this false mind pattern. So
well, it's all right, because what you're talking about is just the momentum of thought and the habit of thought that meditation will free you from. Nothing else will.
Right. Right.
Something else might keep you from recognizing it in a moment, but let's say you're picking up on stuff, doesn't matter. But you manage to quiet your mind and your vibration rises, and then you have some conversation that changes the direction of some thoughts. And then you go back to your day and it happens again and again. Well, eventually your set point is in a different place.
And it's funny because I knew that you were going to say that. So what I wanted to ask is if you...
But do you see how we work? Do you see how we get you to a place that there's no resistance about what we've just said, and then we can approach the subject where there is resistance? That's what meditation does for you. Takes you to a place of no resistance, and then you go back into the world and you reintroduce the resistance, but now you've reintroduced it at a different level. It really is the process of bridging thoughts. It really is the process of clarifying your vibration. Yes, because you can't do it by wrestling the problem to the ground and killing it.
Right. So what I want to use this interaction for is to ask you, let me pause for a second. I want to use this as a catalyst to move on and like to truly just be who I know I am, right? So what I want to ask is if you could give us...
Do you know what the best catalyst to that is? A big old stubborn problem. Because you never know more clearly what you do want than when you're living what you don't want. In other words, sometimes if you're not clear about what you want, the path of least resistance is more problems about the same thing till you get clear. Yeah, so
I just want to ask for you to give me and us words of because what I ultimately struggle with is the self-love. So I just want to have some words from you about self-love that I can use and just
here's the first thing. Stop using the word struggle. But struggle is how I feel, Abraham, so shouldn't I say how I feel? Well, be aware that you're feeling struggle, and then just say to yourself something like, well, I can't really get out of struggle from struggle, so maybe I should call it struggly, something that's a little less strugglesome than struggle. Clarifying, sifting. I've been sifting through life. So ask your question again. We're not mocking you. We're wanting to find a way to get you to exactly where you want to be. So now say it again.
So I just was hoping to get some powerful words of self-love that I can use to just like really go after what it is that I want. Because I'm blocking myself, and I know that. So I want to like just.
So we're looking for something that loosens the block.
like a rampage of self-love that I can just like.
Pretty good way of saying it, because your inner being is yourself also. But you mean a rampage of self-love from your total self that your blocked off self might hear?
Mm-hmm.
Your total self, your inner being self, is rampaging to you all the time and you don't hear it. So you think the words will get through in a way that the constant love and appreciation and guidance isn't?
I'm hoping.
So
I don't know if you're talking to me or Abraham, but I love you too.
things are out of control. We're reaching for your path of least resistance. And we want you all to hear that sometimes what you're asking for in the moment, you're not ready to let in. So what you get back is the letting in process rather than what you're asking for. So we're going to start in even a deeper place than what you've asked for, and then we'll get there, and maybe you'll meet us there, and maybe you won't. Maybe you'll meet us there, maybe you won't. You could meet us there, but maybe you won't. You might meet us there, but maybe you won't. You could, but maybe you won't. It doesn't matter if you do or you don't, because you can get there eventually. So this could be a good time, or maybe not, but it's probably a good time. It probably is. Feels like a good time, so you'll probably get there. You'll probably hear. Now, you see what we're doing? We're just giving you the license to get there or not, to acknowledge that you have a desire that you might be ready for or not, because words are really cheap. A lot of people offer lip service, but we're not wanting to just give you words. We're wanting you to find resonance with who you really are. That's what you're reaching for. You're not asking for our words. You're asking for an inspiration to your resonance. Well, your resonance is about what you're doing. And so sometimes if people go too far, too fast, then it's just more words. So the universe doesn't work that way, because the universe knows where you are and what's best for you to hear. So here we'll give our best answer for what you are asking for. We're going to speak back and forth from your perspective and ours, and you'll know which we're doing. So we'll start first with you. I've been around for a while, and I have come to the realization that there is so much potential for me, potential for alignment, and therefore potential for all other things, because alignment leads to all other wonderful things. It's come to my attention that there's potential for my alignment, that I'm not quite reaching my full potential. I've been practicing thoughts, I guess a lot of people do. I've been practicing thoughts that haven't really let me understand who I am, how I have purpose, how I have value. I can often love others. In fact, it's what my default setting is. I turn my attention to others often, and that gets me going, and that always feels good. But it's hard for me to let love into me. I don't know why. I've been blocking it for a long time. I don't really even understand why. Just a habit that got started. I didn't understand it. I developed patterns. Other people responded to those patterns. So I suspect that from very early age, people wanted to love me, and I just wouldn't let it in because I felt unloved. Now, isn't that just a ridiculous, vicious circle that I got going for myself? I felt unloved, so I didn't let love in, and because I didn't let love in, I felt unloved. And then I didn't feel loved, so I didn't let love in, and then because I didn't let love in, then I didn't feel loved, and then people couldn't love me because I wasn't letting love in. And I just developed a sort of pattern that nobody could really see, because on the surface, I looked sort of normal and behaved sort of the way that I'd learned to behave, but I don't really understand why I wasn't really letting love in. But the one thing that has come from all of that is I've come to a keen awareness that I want to let myself be loved. I thought I wanted to be understood. And as I've been listening to Abraham for a while, I realize that that's not really the quest, because being understood is really an impossible thing, because when you ask somebody to understand you, you need to immediately snap them into your same vibration. And that's an impossible thing. Everybody's got their own vibration going. So I think somewhere I got confused. The desire for love, I think I got it confused with the desire to be understood. And I also think that I got confused about where the love was coming from. I think I thought the love would come from other people who didn't understand me, instead of from Source, who always does. So there's two things I kind of got out of kilter. I got confused about being loved and being understood, and I looked for people that couldn't really understand me to be the reason that I felt love. I realize now how screwy that whole thing was and why it didn't work. And I'm relieved that I'm not failing at something that should work, because it couldn't work. So I'm sort of feeling some relief that I was looking for love in all the wrong places and getting mixed up about whether I was really wanting love from them or understanding from them, which really is not possible. So I also understand that when I'm in a sort of bad place and I want someone to love me or understand me, that they've got to go to the same bad place I am to understand me. Those two things don't go together. I want them to love me and understand me, but they can't understand me unless they get on my vibe. And if they're on my vibe, my not good feeling vibe, then they can't love me. No wonder it didn't work. Looking for love in all the wrong places. Is this making any sense to any of you? Relating a little bit even? So now I've kind of got that squared away. Now I realize that as lovely as people are, and as much as I love so many of them, and as much as I love being in this body and here in this world and on this leading edge, that I want to express love to them, but mostly I want to connect with love. Because if I don't let myself be loved, if I don't let this vessel that is me open to love, then I can't really love anybody else, not in a way that's meaningful to them. So a lot of us are just running around a little bit broken. We're not letting love in, but we're trying to let love out. So we're not going back to the well of replenishment. We're just loving and serving and trying to be of value and getting depleted and getting exhausted and getting overwhelmed because we're not letting it in. It's like never breathing air in and always breathing it out.
Everything you would truly want, I mean truly, not ego wants, but the desire of your heart, you already have and are. So that fits in with our theme that this is not about accumulating more knowledge of the world, or oftentimes with taking workshops and in-services and retreats and so forth, the mentality is still, okay, what can I get? Maybe I can get some more tools and have more abilities and so forth, but this is not really about going in the direction of more. It's actually, like we have a beer commercial in the United States which says less is more. It goes the other direction from more of whatever. Jesus has a little section in the course in the back of the book, back of the text, called Beyond All Idols. And in that section, Jesus says, he starts it off with a question. It's always great, you're reading a book from Jesus Christ and he starts off his first sentence with a question. And you're like, okay, that'll wake you up in the morning. He says, what is an idol? Do you think you know? And that's the start. And then he kind of rolls on with, an idol is for more of something. It does not matter more of what. So you see how all-encompassing that beautiful teaching is. Even when you have this desire to be more spiritual, and that desire is projected off into the future. And the big fallacy is that the ego believes that, you know, it has to try to do something to keep its existence going in your mind, so it will even hijack terms like enlightenment and come up with concepts about future enlightenment and an enlightened personality self. And that can seem like a pretty good ideal at the beginning until you start to realize that it's going to throw in the other version of an unenlightened you and keep comparing the two, and you always come out on the short end of the stick, feeling like you're less than you could be, or less than you should be. But you should learn not to should on yourself. You can learn not to should on yourself, just to continue opening and noticing when ego thoughts and private thoughts arise, just beginning to learn to watch them and notice them without reacting to them, without taking them seriously. So instead of a smorgasbord of possible options to try to become an enlightened personality self, it's really helpful to start to realize that what you're really going to focus on in this lifetime is going to be mind training and mind watching, and that when the temptation is to just get lost in the doer and get lost in the personality self trying to become a better person or become more enlightened, you can start to realize that that's just another trick of the ego. The ego made up the persona, the mask, and then one of its favorite tricks is to take the mask and then work at trying to improve the mask. And what we're going to talk about is learning to dissolve the mask, or let the mask fall away, and just be the authentic Christ self, the authentic spirit that you already are and always have been. So I would say one of the biggest traps and one of the most addictive patterns that you first have to take a look at is the idea of self-improvement. That's a very basic trend in human beings. It doesn't matter what culture, what country, there's like this deep ingrained idea in self-improvement. And you go to the library, you have self-help sections. A lot of us have spent a lot of time looking in self-help. Actually, the self that's being helped is the ego. And the ego is actually beyond help and beyond hope. It's like going into the librarian or to the bookstore, just saying to the lady at the counter, you know, I've got a really miserable self, but I would like to get an improved model, trade up to a much more improved model, so you have anything that can help this miserable self that's, well, it's actually a death wish, but, you know, do you have anything that will, like, help brighten up this death wish, or spruce it up a little bit, you know, make it a little more presentable, even lovable. You know, there's teachings that will say, you know, the ego is to be loved. And at some point, you know, this question dawns into your mind: how do I love a death wish? You know, how do you go about loving a death wish? It's just that the death wish is pushed out of awareness, it's in the unconscious mind. So all of the work that we seem to do in the spiritual journey is just raising what is unconscious into awareness, and then just seeing it for what it is, which is false. False, in the end, can't be good or bad, it can't be beautiful or ugly, and it can't be intellectual or dumb, and it can't be spiritually enlightened or unenlightened. You know, those are all just opposites that get projected onto the small self, into the ego, and in the end, forgiveness is quiet, it's still, it's tranquil, and it quietly does nothing. Everything that you're aiming for in this life is just to learn how to gracefully do nothing. That's kind of summarizing it. That the self that you are just is. Your self that you are is a state of beingness. And beingness isn't a doer. A lot of times we have conferences and workshops and so forth that are mind, body, spirit. You know, whether you go to conferences or stores, and I know it's popular to try to find an integration between mind, body, spirit. It ain't going to happen. There's an integration of the mind that's possible, and certainly perception can be integrated, but the body is a concretized form of error or of sin or of false belief, and it's an attempt to make the error real, but in kind of like a concretized form. And actually, that's another topic that Gay and I were talking about, was the body. The body is just really, in the Holy Spirit's perception, is neutral. It's not positive, it's not negative, it's just a symbol that can be used as a learning device. And the mind is where the learning takes place, or we could say more correctly, the unlearning. So the body is more like an unlearning device, helping you unlearn the ego. And in that sense, you don't put any more importance on it than it deserves. If it's just a symbol to the Holy Spirit, then only the ego would try to make the body a hated symbol, a symbol of limitation, a symbol of lack, a symbol of, we were talking about embarrassment or unworthiness or unwellness. It's just the ego will try to make it into something, if it's negative or it's positive. Another thing that the ego likes to do is glorify the body. You know, you might have seen the programs on television, the wonder of the human body, you know, and exploring all the systems of the body and all the intricacies as a wonder of the world. And this is glorifying the body. It's still trying to make it more than neutral and nothing. He's got sections in the back of the text too that talk about trying to glorify the body by dressing it up and you know, trying to attract other bodies with it. And basically he says in that same section that when you do this, when you try to use the body in a way as an attraction device, you are offering your brother a crown of thorns instead of the gift of lilies. So the most basic thing, if we look at some of the basics of human nature, you know, the idea of, okay, presenting a beautiful body to the world, you know, that is, if that becomes a preoccupation, if that becomes an obsession of the mind, if it becomes something that remains as a priority, then Jesus is just saying in his own terms, you offer your brother a crown of thorns. And none of us want to be offering thorns. We want to be offering the gift of lilies. So we could say that the body is just a communication device for the mind. The body is an unlearning device for the mind to unlearn everything that it has seemed to learn, to peel the onion, to kind of get down to the core of innocence that the mind truly is, and just undo all of these concepts, layers of concepts that have come in.